All right, ladies and gents, welcome to the first semifinal of SAX Arabia Cup, $20,000 tournament. Big money put on the line by a Chinese sponsor. And this has been the tournament of upsets. I'm just going to continue to repeat it at this point because it is very likely, considering I was sick for the prior week and a half, and maybe you didn't hear exactly what happened. Basically, all the big names, all the names that you would have expected to progress to the Final Four at the very least, are out in this tournament. Viper was knocked out in the round of 16. Tato knocked out in the round of 16. Leary knocked out in the round of 16. Doubt Rock knocked out, I think, in the round of 16. Hera Rock knocked out in the quarterfinals. Yo knocked out in the round of 16. Crazy stuff. And Barles and Vinchester remain. They have looked very, very strong. And many people picking one of these two to win the whole thing now. We got Vinchester starting it all off as the Incas in the blue. And then we got Barles starting it off as the Berbers in the red. They've been super consistent. They've shown a variety of different play styles, these two. But for those that watched Vinchester play against Vivi in the quarterfinals, I think we've got a different series on our hands today. Because Vivi, he took a lot of time to get going economically. And so what usually happened in those games was Vinchester would just snowball an eco lead and win. That's, the simple way to say it. I don't think it's going to be so simple here because when you think of Barles, he's really tough to break. A lot of people think he's defensive. He can be aggressive and he can be defensive. So we'll be interesting to see. He's gone for Berbers. I mean, Berbers have a lot of potential in Castle Age, so that's going to be the goal for him to get there. Map is pretty good. I know that this gold is kind of brutal, but he says this gold, which is more than fine, and there's lots of wood lines. It is Arabia, so you're expecting to fight for control, but still, this is a map that I think he can work with. I definitely prefer Vinchester's map because the way the wood lines are positioned protects the gold. But, when you see a gold like this on the front, you either build out in front of it, which he might do, or you move to the side. Oh, I don't have my cursor on. Hold on, guys. Hold on. People can't see the cursor. Sorry. I could fix that. Thank you for saying that. Man, there have been times where people don't say that until like game 3, or at least I don't see it, which is really embarrassing. So you should be able to see the cursor now. There we go. Could you see it? It's pretty small. There we go. You can see the cursor. I tried to zoom in to show you the cursor as if that does anything to the cursor. Sorry, adding the cursor doesn't fix my brain. So, all right. So I wonder if Barles watched the games Vinchester played yesterday because Vinchester went for the early barracks a lot in that series. And so he's mixing in militia now. And again, it's something he found great success with, taking some early initiative. And here he comes forward with his eagle. So, what is this? Okay, look, this comment to start off. What is going to be a high-level cast, I hope. Says, I like T90 and I don't know why, ... I will say, I think he is extremely lucky to have a fiance, lol. First comment on my channel. Extremely lucky to have a fiance. What are you trying to imply here? Huh? Hey, listen, your comments can only get better from here, all right? Your first message, I get it. You're doing exactly kind of what I did when I started dating my fiance. I set the bar low, right? I said, hey, don't get your hopes up. Don't expect much. And if that's how you approach things in this relationship, it's going to be great. And here we are. Actually, in 4 days, it'll be 5 years with her, actually, which is pretty crazy. So here comes the militia. Now, Barles, of course, has not scouted this. He pushed in all of his deer. He's been extremely greedy. And that is very much the meta these days, though. Like, players are greedy. They will push in their deer, and they will try and rush to Feudal Age as quickly as possible. Unless you're Vinchester. And Barles actually noticed that, but he doesn't get the palisade down. Now, this is really close to the TC, and he is Berber, so his villagers are a bit faster, but this is going to be annoying. And you can see, this is hilarious right now. Barles is just waiting for him to back up enough so he can place that palisade, and Vinchester just stood over it 3 or 4 times there, but in the end, it's actually, I mean, he only had to place 3 palisades. Everything's really nice and close to the TC here, so it's not too bad for Barles, and he drops the stable, which is what he wanted in the first place. T90, when are you getting married? Well, she just texted me. She said she's watching the stream, and she said she's having second thoughts now after JBG Joe pointed out that I probably don't deserve love. So maybe never. Things have changed. But, you know, if she doesn't back out now, it will be in, like 2 years or something like that. So my life has been ruined. Walls coming up here for Vinchester. This is not necessarily something that the Drush allows you to do, because you don't really have protection per se, but you have a few more villagers to work with, which is essentially what it comes out to. And he's turned the 2 militia into 4, and it will be man-at-arms now. Again, a build that Vinchester's done in the past. Now, Barles is trying to scout this out right now. He sees the walls here. He probably has an idea that Vinchester wants to build up with his range or whatever is going to come next on the front. And he's just trying to keep this open right now. And I think this is good recognition from Vinchester, not having the vision here, to know it's just far too risky to try and wall that up. I mean, this would be a lot of walling. But Barles has gone for the really safe walls. Like, he hasn't tried to protect his gold. He just simply wants to start this off strong. And I don't mind the approach. You can get a couple kills and then, you know, maybe have the army to defend. And then if that's the case, then you can go for the big walls later on. Does need to be careful, though. And Vinchester still pretty close by here. And Barles just pulls away from the berries. Yeah, this is dangerous. A player like Vinch, though, he might just be happy to just camp this little hill next to the mill. That's really tough for Barles to engage. So Barles switched into an archer range now. He can only afford 1 archer because of the 50 gold you have, but he's going out to get more gold and will eventually make a second archer. LMAO, I thought you were going to say you set the bar low and you selected your girlfriend. No. She set the bar low for me, guys. Of course. Of course. So yeah, Barles is now on that forward gold, which could become an issue at some point. And just repairing his mill right now. Does have some goats still and has some farms, so he has more than enough food income for now. And the 1 archer is enough to scare Vinchester away for now. Vinchester's going to have his own archers and some spearmen here as well. So he's just going to send all this forward. And Barles looping back home. He would love to deal with this. This is extremely awkward to engage against. And he doesn't want the follow-up army from Vinchester to meet up with this. And sometimes you'll see players look for that spear and they'll actually pick it off with 4 scouts. But now the timing's kind of awkward to engage against it, I would say, for Barles. And man, this is high-level stuff from both. Like, I really hope you guys realize this. Because just the timings on everything, whether it be the defense or the offense, is so beautiful. Vinchester, immediately upon seeing these scouts, sends Villager out here to wall. So he didn't take any risks. It was all calculated based on what he's seen in the game, which is just so good. And then Barles has pretty good economy. And he'll know that Vinchester is likely going to be walled, and he's going to need to protect himself at home. So amassing more ranged units, going for these walls to the side. Again, makes his life easy to have the walls up like he does right now. And both players trying to get a feel for what the other's going to do. And that moment right there is very common. Players will say, okay, he's going to come hit me. But then you have all this army, and you think, oh, shoot, maybe he's being greedy. So now he goes forward, thinking I have to attack my opponent. But then Vinchester is now walled. And now he's going to go forward. So pretty awkward for Barles. I like the outpost. Vinchester gets a notification and is aware now that he's being attacked by Barles on this side. No fletching for Barles, which does give Vinchester more opportunities to repair. Pulls away the Vill. Drops the tower. And now let's see the reaction from Barles here. And Barles, well, that villager that villager wants to die. And that villager's going to go down. And I'd say this is better for Vinch. It's very frustrating in Barles' position to have had your army here, had the army to deal with this, but then get punished anyways. Because he wasn't patient enough. But that's also the luxury that giving you some wall, that putting down some walls gives you. And Vinchester's base setup is looking really good. Big thing to point out is there's still no fletching for Barles. Like, he did make the blacksmith. He did not research fletching. I think he might think he has that upgrade because he's got a lot of ranged units. Like, that is the type of unit that matters more than anything right now. And the scouts do not want to be engaging against that many man-at-arms and the spears, and everything's falling apart for Barles. Everything is falling apart for Barles. He can't take the gold. This fight, I don't even think will be that good for him. Let's see, actually. Maybe I'm misjudging it. I'm not misjudging it. Beautiful situation here for Vinchester. He's completely safe back at home. His economy has been flawless, guys. Again, I was trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to taper my hype for Vinchester before this series, just because, again, I spoke to players. They're like, listen, you can't sleep on Barles. And I looked at the results and was reminded Barles has been really good. Barles has been this. Barles is a different style than what Vinchester faced in previous sets. But again, I just gotta... you just look at Vinchester's play and he's just playing so good. So, he has the full walls, but he made it look easy to get there. Against a scout rush that was looking to deny those walls for a while. Barles still thinks he is fletching. I can promise you that. Like, he would not be taking these engagements if he didn't think he has fletching. He built the blacksmith early enough. He probably clicked it and maybe was missing a couple resources. But he's in stabilized mode at this point. And he very much wants to be in stable mode. At least making knights here in a second once he's in Castle Age. But you need gold for that. And Vinchester, yet again, no hesitation. It goes underneath the tower. Decides to back away now. And doesn't actually lose anything to the tower. So not bad at all for Vinchester here. Now, neither player can build a second TC right now because they've towered. But the Inca player... actually, how much stone is an Incan TC? Actually, forget. Because your stone buildings are discounted. I feel like you have to take a little bit of... Shoot, is it like 90? I think Vinch might be able to make the second. It's a bit weird. But I think he can make the second and actually make it on the stone. And then you collect a little bit more stone for the third. It's 85 stone. Interesting. Okay, so it's 15% discount on stone buildings. Yeah, okay. Well, then obviously I'm wrong. So he can make the second TC there, which feels super, super nice. And he goes for crossbow and he goes for bodkin. Now he's up against skirms. We also have a rare genitor sighting. The mounted skirmisher that only the Berbers can make. And that can be a really strong unit to chase down the crossbows. And yeah, that's pretty clear then he's not going to go for elite skirm. If he's going to go for genitors. Great start for Vinch. Is Barles the underdog in this matchup? Not like a huge underdog. But I consider him the underdog, yes. My feeling today was that this would be a Vinchester 4-2. But again, having spoken to other players, there's many players out there who think that Barles will win the whole thing here. So it's pretty close to even. I think Vinchester has shown a slightly higher level than Barles in tournaments. He's gone a little bit deeper than Barles in tournaments. He's maybe has a greater peak. What is amazing about Barles is usually his consistency from game to game. But Vinch has been showing an extremely high level here. It does get housed a little bit, which is a little embarrassing with the Incas. But he's got nice control right now. He's collected 1,500 more resources. And he's happy to just chill here on the hill. And now he sees the genitors. This will get interesting with genitors on the field. But now Vinchester knows that his army is probably going to die. So he's going to dive. And there's actually not much to find here. It's funny how safe this area used to be for Barles. And now there's very little here. If you're going to take a fight, you probably want to be on the hill. And that's precisely where Vinch is right now. And here are the genitors. Vinchester doesn't seem too scared of them right now. And Vinchester Still the 2 town centers behind this, like we said. He may choose to stay on 2 and just save the stone for a castle, honestly. The Genitors might make you think you're going to have some problems here, but... Yeah, this is what Barles really needed to do. Like, these Genitors just took way too much time. You just got to dive. Just dive on those crossbows. Here comes a TC. Dude, don't build the... Oh my god, now you can't kill the skirm. That is actually so annoying. That is so funny. He sent the eagle over here to kill the skirm, but where he's placed the TC, the skirm is trapped for now. And the eagle can't kill it. It's actually kind of a big deal because it does delay building the TC ever so slightly. And the Genitors are on the way. Say what you want about the Genitor, by the way. You can just look at them and tell they mean business. They are ready. How does their arm not get tired holding that thing above their head? They've got lots of pierce armor, right? So they can run underneath the TCs. And they're over here to deny this one. Your skirmisher friend is still helping them. And Vinch is still going for, like, crossbows. He's even going for some monks here. But I could see Barles bringing this back. Barles is on 2 TCs as well. And that's the big thing with Barles is his economy is usually fantastic. Obviously, he lost some vills here. But 2 town centers for Barles. Good eco upgrades. And Knight Genitor seems like it could be a pretty solid composition. I love how he's utilized these Genitors. You have the mobility. And again, you've got that armor, so... Yeah, look, like they're like holding this javelin above their heads at all times. I feel like it's not a great way to do it, but then again, I don't really have the makeup to be a Genitor. Monks converting Genitors could work, but you're spending 100 gold per monk to convert a unit that doesn't cost any gold. In the end, though, it leads to 2 kills, essentially, and there's enough eagles in the mix, and now it's Eagle Warrior. Vinchester's going to be feeling pretty good, and Vinchester's got enough stone for a castle. Vinch! Do you need this right now? I love the energy. Yet I think, like, the way this game has flowed, he should understand he has the lead, so a lot of people would just place a defensive castle. Vinchester wants to go for a forward castle. Doubt was knocked out in this tournament, so we will have no doubt, but could we have a doubt castle? Yeah, it's not even going to get to that point, because Vinchester realized that he severely misjudged this. A nice job from Barles. Not bad engagements. Like, this is all a decent enough fight here for Barles considering. The Genitors killed off a lot of the crossbows. And Knights were solid enough. Maybe now Vinchester feels like with more reinforcements he can take the fights. And he still wants that forward castle. I mean, Barles doesn't have much. 2 more Knights are on the way. Plus 2 armors on the way. Oh my god. I mean, if the castle goes up, I think it's fair to say he probably wins the game. But if the castle gets denied, it's going to be really awkward for him. And he really doesn't have a big mass here. But here we go. Vinchester sent 14 vills. Barles is distracted, hoping to pick off monks with the Genitors. Barles has 2 weak knights in here from before. Does Vinchester have enough to complete this castle? I think he does, guys. And he'll have the resources for Imperial Age as well. That's crazy. Really good judgment there from Vinch. Because, like, a lot of times players aren't patient with the stone. So when you have enough stone for a castle, high-level mentality is normally you build the castle right away. So when it wasn't going to work initially, I thought he was just going to build it at home and then, you know, think about the next castles. Speaking of a castle, here's a castle now from Barles. And this castle will likely go up. He's got enough knights here to defend, but he does lose a lot of those knights. That's a good enough engagement for Vinchester to feel happy. That's a lot of knights that aren't going to head over to his base now. And Vinchester going to keep some villagers forward to mine even more stone. He's going to get relic number 3. And Vinch is going to click up here to imp. And Barles is nowhere close. I think the best way, the only way for Barles to win this game right now might be Rams and Knights. Full on Rams and Knights, all in castle. Imp is not really an option. So if you recognize that Vinchester's up, which he might because the scores are a lot closer and there's quite a significant score dip when someone clicks up. Yeah, I think you just got to try all-in castle. It's tough to go all-in castle against someone who can just make a couple panic cameos out of their castle, though. Cameos could actually be really strong here. There is a market here, Dragonstar. Finally, Vinchester makes one for you there, dude. Yeah, because he had like tons of gold for a while. And Vinchester maybe thinking now that Barles is going to make like camel archers more than anything. And he's just going to place another castle here. Crazy. No outpost or anything. He just seems to know that Barles is over here instead. It does feel like Vinchester has done everything right to start off this semifinal. He always has enough army to take a solid enough engagement. This castle will lead to Trebs to push this position, which is going to be so awkward for Barles. The resources aren't perfect for Elite Eagle for Vinchester right away. This is the type of fight that actually might be pretty good for Barles right before Imp. But is it good enough? Like, is it a fight that leads to an immediate clear up of some eco? It doesn't feel like it. It's like every engagement, if Vinch just waits a little bit longer, he's always going to have more Eagles. He's got 6 barracks here, kind of in a circle. And Incan Eagles, cheapest Eagles in the game. Another castle here from Barles, but oh man, he's going to see Vinch is up, and he's going to be like, what on earth am I supposed to do now? He's going to be trebbed on both sides. Like, if Vinch wasn't up, this castle's good. It pushes those villagers back, and it protects you, but Vinchester now has Elite Eagle on the way. Knights, Castle Age Knights with full armor are solid enough against Elite Eagles. The problem is the Trebs. But then again, Knights with armor are also solid enough against Trebs. I guess, you know, if Vinchester can make 50 Eagles, it's a problem. But okay. Units are diving. Vinch is going to make a Treb on both sides here. Vinch has some fires to put out in his base right now. I know it feels like a weird thing to say, but you know, for those that watch Vinchester play Vivi, again, Barles is solid enough. He's not breaking near as easily here. So this is going to be, I think this is going to be one crazy series. Because so many things went wrong for him in mid-feudal age when he got pushed off his gold. But since then, I felt like he's really put up a solid performance. Vinchester sends in the Eagles. He brings a monk over. We'll get a conversion here. We'll see if it's good enough to fully win the fight. It feels like he will. And then he also has Eagles in the eco of Barles. Looped it around to this eco. The villagers are getting slaughtered, and we also have Trebs going for the castle on both sides. Vinchester an age up. Vinchester up in eco. Vinchester getting more raids than Barles ever has, and it feels like maybe it's close. Barles is going to try. He takes the Treb. A good thing for Barles there, but how long can he do this? Because Vinchester can always make more Trebs, can always make more Eagles. He's a little light on gold at the moment, but I think it's just because he garrisoned this TC. And remember, he's got 3 relics, so he's going to be able to make more Eagles. He can mix in pikes, too. Like, there's no reason not to be making more pikemen as well. And Barles, this is kind of funny. His Knights might actually survive, but he's still losing everything at his base right now. I like how Vinch mixed in a couple cameos. Cameos are actually incredible here. I think he should just be mainly producing cameos against Knights. They're so good. You don't see pros make cameos, mainly because Incas are just so stacked with other things. Which I think is a shame, by the way. I think that I don't know. Incas have had Halb forever, so removing Halb from them would feel kind of weird. But anyways, the fact that like pikes are super cheap for them, and you could just produce pikes out of the barracks and they get the job done means you don't see cameos that frequently. But elite cameo is no joke. Barles continues to put up a crazy fight here. Continues to snipe the Trebs. And find some good engagements. And again, I think Vinch this is a solid reminder for him that this is not going to be like when he played against Vivi, where Vivi just rolls over and dies. Vinch still hasn't finished off Barles. Excuse me, sorry. I'm going to sip my tea real quick. Vinch definitely shifting into more of a defensive mode. Dropping a castle over here because he continues to be raided on the sides. But the knights that survive for Barles are still getting damage in over here. He still hasn't lost his castles. Don't ask me how. It seems like he's close. So, some exciting moments for Barles. But he's still only in Castle Age. If he makes it to Imp, then he could go for hand cannons. But how are you supposed to ever go Imp? He's going to run out of gold here soon. Like, the only gold he's taking is underneath this castle. Vinchester just has such good control right now. I think, like, it looks a little sloppy from Vinch's perspective. But even if he were to lose his forward castle somehow, he's setting up so he can never lose this game with his own defense. So, this has definitely been a situation where Vinchester is probably a little surprised by the fight Barles is putting up. But this castle's perfect, so you can't be raided. This castle's perfect, so you can't be raided. And so while he's still going to try, you know, to hold positions, like even this, getting conscription out of your forward castles, he's just like, all right, you know what? I've done enough. I've forced him into all-in knights. Let's just be certain that he doesn't take the neutral golds. Let's just be certain that we are fine at home. And we do see more cameos. Barles has probably spent well over 1,000 stone repairing castles, which also means he won't be able to build castles anywhere else himself. And oh man, the Treb! Get the Treb, Barles! No! Oh, he gets it. Okay. Gets the Treb, but his castle goes down. Yikes. Castle goes down. Still somehow some knights in the back. Don't ask me how Barles is able to find opportunities at this point. Vinch will put a stop to that. And Vinch just drops another castle here, so. Elite Sheepy, I was sick for the last week and a half. The only series I really covered from this tournament was the ones I covered yesterday. So that's why there's not going to be as many uploads from me on YouTube. The two quarters from yesterday will be on YouTube. In fact, there should already be one. And then, obviously, the semis and the finals will be on YouTube, too. So, I was not, like, intentionally trying to hide this from YouTube viewers or anything. I just, unfortunately, got sick at a really bad time. So, well, props to Barles. My salute goes out to him. It really does. But, he's dead. He's very, very dead. Vinchester's not going to let him get away with getting extra gold. Vinchester finally is going to take out this castle as well. It's a really solid start to the series, though, guys. Because I think, like, it was a bit unfortunate for Barles and Feudal. And this was extremely well played by Vinch. If a couple things go differently, I think... And Barles isn't immediately behind an early castle. I think he's able to do a lot more in this game. Also, I think that the Incas are just top tier, especially for a player like Vinch. Berbers are solid enough civ. They're one of my favorite civs, but I don't consider them to have, you know, bonuses that's going to put people... that's going to really upset Barles if he loses with them. Like, they're good enough to get wins, but they have some vulnerabilities. Incas are fairly stacked, and that's our first game. But no, what a fight there. Nice shot from Vinchester. Which, again, it's like... I'm curious, will he go for the Drush every single time? It's something he did against Vivi a lot. Barles seemed to know it was coming, but still couldn't deal with just all the army that Vinchester added out. And even though Barles did end up killing Vils from Vinchester this game, Vinchester still set up his base for the most part in a way where he could never be killed off. So, well played to Vinch. He takes the first game and will hopefully be a very long best of 7. And 54k res collected there for Vinch. Again, he had great late game control. 4 castles when that game ended, all around the map. 93% of the map scouted. And just the dream start for our boy Vinchester. So, game number 2 here. And we've got Malay versus Slavs. Slavs can be fantastic if they get that farming eco going. Malay, though, really good with the timing. So I said this when Vinchester played against Vivi. It was like Vinchester was setting the pace. He was the one being aggressive. Vivi was just reacting. And then game one, Barles was just reacting. However, Malay advancing faster to the next stage can really bail them out or give them the tools to be more aggressive. So I kind of like it here for the Malay, but I will say that, like, I think Castle Age is a concern. 1 second, guys. Got like a little bit of a bug in my throat. There we go. Yeah, like, if Barles doesn't do some damage here and, like, have a big ball of crossbows, let's say early castle, I think that Knight Scorpion can be extremely strong against the Malay. So that's something you got to think about, because Malay are infantry and archer. They really don't have a lot of cav options. Obviously, the Legend of the Lyre would have something to say about that, because the Legend of the Lyre meant to pick Magyar and would go for lots of elephants. But, you know, you're not going to see pros go for elephants, most likely. So that's kind of my take. And holy crap, wait a second. JBG Joe gives 50 subs to the stream after I called him out because his first message ever on the channel was saying I didn't deserve to have a fiance. We've been paid off. We're okay with the insult. Oh, that's acceptable. Honestly, I think you're right. Did I imply that I was offended? I actually really enjoyed it when you made that joke. Thank you. Thank you. And 50 people, if you got the emotes, make sure to thank him. If you didn't get it, just say you're dodged. And yeah, thank you very much for that. What in the world? That is so rare. The amount of times that someone shows up to a live stream, it's their first message, and it's like kind of a troll, and then they just barely ever chat again, and they just disappear into the woodwork, is like really high on Twitch. So for you to now drop that many gifted subs is crazy. I didn't mean to make you feel that bad, by the way. I did assume you were joking. If you weren't joking, though, I was. And then, you know, shame on you. All right, now what Slavs are not very good at, guys, is they're not good at the whole militia play, which Vinchester likes to do. They can do it, like, in theory. You get population space from your barracks. So it's like, woo, there's a bonus for early barracks play. But realistically, what you want to do is you want to go up fast, have the double lumber camp, and go for the more economic approach. Vinchester might expect that Barles might try something funky with the militia. I don't think that's going to be the case here. Wow, Barles is going up really fast here. Remember, Malay advanced quicker. So you tend to see players go up to like 20, 21, 22 vills before clicking up to Feudal, but he's up already. Captain Miller says, is it normal that it has been years without playing AoE2, but I still enjoy your streams and videos? I think that's fairly normal. People can type 1 in chat if they don't really play the game, and they still like to watch a lot. I think it's normal. This game is extremely stressful, and really, you got to put in a lot of hours to stay consistent with it. And it's like, for as stressful as this game can be to play, I feel like it is just as relaxing to watch sometimes, so I don't think you're in the minority there. Here comes Barles. So he's gone for the 2 militia, but he doesn't know exactly what Vinchester's base setup is. Vinch doesn't know the militia are on the way, though. And Vinch just dropped 2 palisades here. Now, let's see how attentive Vinch is, because if he sees... Yeah. Okay, I was going to say, if he sees the militia, he could just add a couple extra palisades. I really like Vinch's pre-walls here. It's very similar to what Barles did in the previous game, because Barles went for houses and palisades just to keep the militia away. But there will be no follow-up, really, for Barles. I think he's assuming Vinchester's going scouts here, guys. Vinchester is not going scouts. Vinchester's actually gone for the archer range. And this could get a little squirrely, a little awkward for Barles, because you're hoping basically to play spear defense. Oh! What just happened there? Barles is WTF. So I thought that Barles maybe clicked his unit here. He thinks he patrolled and the spearman didn't attack anyways. Oh, God. Barles says he clicked it like 3 times. Dang, that's awful, man. And Vinch wasn't paying attention. And now this scout's still on full HP. And Barles is already in a rough spot because he kind of guessed incorrectly at what his opponent was going to open with here. Hopefully that moment there doesn't tilt Barles too much. The Spearman from Vinchester does get a hit. Vinchester still hasn't taken damage. The Militia and Spear's still distracting, though, so that's something. And now the Spearman's down. This could be pretty good now for Barles. It's such a funny fight to witness here. But yeah, Barles would be very happy with how this went. All these skirmishers are weak. Actually, all the skirms could die. Barles has units on stand grounds here. But yeah, all these skirms die and Barles will be fine. Yeah, I've been playing the game a bit over the last couple days, and regrouping issues are back. It's, you know, there's performance issues with the game. It just is what it is, and it can be really frustrating for players, you know. So I'm glad that that moment there for Barles didn't, like, lead to a snowball against him, and then he's down 2-0 quickly. His mindset's not right because of, you know, thinking that moment had a big effect, and yeah, it could be frustrating. Yo, JBG, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks again. That was crazy. It's been a while since we've had a sub bomb like that. Good guy, Piggle, thank you. Repan and Livy, welcome, guys. Thanks for the primes. So Vinchester did get Horse Collar, which I think is just a must for the Slavs. There are builds where I would say that's not an upgrade you need to stress over too much. But because Slavs do farm faster, you kind of want to have as much food as possible on that farm. Not getting Horse Collar with the Slavs can lead to a lot of farms expiring very quickly, and then you're not actually ready to reseed it. So, unit-wise, though, like, Spear Skirm is kind of an interesting opening. I guess he's probably doing it because the Malay are known for pretty solid archers, but this wasn't the type of opening I was expecting from the Slavs. But it might just be the opening. And Barles has made himself a nice little base here. He's got a nice pocket of space back here. Gold is very protected compared to the previous game. Vinchester's got a safe gold in the back as well. And you might be wondering, like, how on earth is Barles ahead in Vils? But that's just because he spends less time advancing to the next stage. So, like, that's just the Malay power right there. You take no damage and you have a villager lead. It's really nice. And that will extend to the next stage as well, of course. I don't know how Vinchester's skirms didn't do any damage on that volley. This is a very interesting corner. Corners with cliffs are very good. I agree. But there's no... Ooh. Who died here? That's interesting. But we do have a fight to watch. We do have a skirmisher battle. You can see the graves in the north. I mean, that's a very accurate spot. You feel like someone would maybe be buried there, you know? There can occasionally be little gravestones around the map. This hill. Look at this hill. This is the hill that decides this game, right here. And their players are probably already recognizing this themselves. Whoever castles this hill in a great position because there's a gold from either player on either side of it. I love the fact that there's bigger hills on the Arabia map script these days. Now, we're using the base version of the map script from DE. So this is like the script of Arabia you would have if you play ranked. The thing is it can vary. So, like, from game to game, you're going to have big hills, big wood lines, small wood lines. There's one spear here and one militia. If that gets cleared out, 2 scouts kill all these skirmishers. That could be really good value for Vinch. And he's on the way to castle. He clicked up well ahead of his opponent, but still won't beat him there because Malay things. And I guess it's just going to be a bit of a boom. Smart from Barles, too, intentionally leaving the spear and the militia behind. Because he's expecting there to be an army to greet him in there. He would know that his opponent was not going to greet him with anything if his opponent was, like, trying to quick wall behind it. And Vinchester just let him through. And now Barles knows that there's scouts on the field. And so he's mixed in more spears back at home. And he's going to do his best to meet up this army with the army from home. And Vinch is going to do his best to snipe the spear. Good luck clicking that. He actually clicked it perfectly. I would misclick it at least once. Not Vinchester. And this is nice. Spear tanks some hits, though, because of having the extra armor. And I apparently need more tea, which I'll work on. And this engagement's fine for Barles. Like, he loses a couple skirms. It's still fine. He keeps most of them alive. He still has more. TC number 2 for Barles. And TC number 2 and then 3 for Vinch. I find Elite Skirm very interesting. Like, your opponent has a stable now. Obviously, having the spears with the skirms can still be very nice. I feel like Vinchester might need a siege workshop. But to commit to the Elite Skirm upgrade is a surprise to me. Maybe he just felt like he needs some type of offensive power, and he already had so many skirms. Vinchester's committed so heavily to the eco, though, he can't really justify the siege workshop yet. But I like his TC positions. He's placed it in a position where stone is protected, the gold is protected. The wood could kind of be a concern here. Wouldn't surprise me to see Vinch add a couple more houses back here. And, oh, man, there was a hole. And Barles reacts. I mean, Barles is not a chatter, usually. He's not someone who's that chatty. And he says, oh, come on. As the knights and the scout gets through. And he says, how is it open? And there was a hole between the houses. And listen, if I'm Vinch right now, I'm thinking my opponent's tilted. Let's murder these vills, right? Like, clearly he's frustrated. Let's make it worse. And, oh, man. Oh, the idle time for Barles is rough. Oh, jeez. You got to fight through this stuff, man. Like, bad things can happen, and you got to try and fight through it. I think it's a bad sign that Barles is expressing the fact he's frustrated. I think that tells you the level of frustration he's at. You never know. You know, you could just be having a good old grand time. Maybe he's a big fan of holes in his walls, but Vinch is going to come through. And, okay, I was going to say, if he didn't get the conversion there, he probably would be even more frustrated. But Vinchester gets good value from the knights coming through. Barles has plenty of wood lines. He's got a wood line here. He's got a wood line here. He's got a wood line here. He's wood everywhere. Wood is not an issue for Barles. The issue for Barles is those knights got in. But beyond that, map is good. Resources on the front could be an issue, but that's going to be the same for Vinchester. He already TC'd on the front there to protect that stone. And he now has some siege just to defend. So I'll give you an example. I played a series against FedEx where I was the underdog. And I started strong. Game 1 was really close, right? And then immediately, it was a best of 5, right? In game number 2, I had another good moment leading to me winning. And then FedEx was super chatty with me. And he's like, oh, it's too early to play AoE. I shouldn't have picked that Civ, stuff like that, right? And that's when I immediately was just like, okay, well, his mindset's not right, right? And it actually made me play more confidently because it was very clear to me that things were off for him, right? I don't know if like other players think as much as I do about that stuff. I think they just maybe they just play the game, but it's definitely something that I think about. And I've been on the other side of that too, where I'm like, oh, come on. And I'm the super chatty and like frustrated one. You know, it's just kind of part of it. So pikemen and elite skirm and monks for Barles. This is his comfort zone. And if he converts a knight here, wow, I'm really surprised Vinchester engaged. What is Vinchester doing here? This is an awful engagement for Vinchester. I thought he would just back away. Nice shot from Barles. Barles gets 2 conversions on knights. The scorpions are kind of far away. Normally you want the scorpions to be close to your base. And 2 scorpions are going to go down. And now we have a castle from Vinch. Whoa! That's a really early castle. He was mining that stone for a long time, so Yeah, these farms are... these farms are kind of funny for Barles. So, we talked about this hill on this side and the importance of it. Right now, Barles might be thinking about that hill because you can't necessarily push this position anymore after Vinchester builds that castle. Now, Vinchester still made a bunch more Scorpions. They are cheap with the Slavs. The Scorpions, now it's finding the engagements he would have wanted. Yeah, a much closer game in Castle Age compared to the previous one. Well played to Barles to stabilize this. But he needs Mangonel to flatten the Scorpions out, because the Scorpions are a problem. It was just before Vinchester split up his Scorpions, and he also dove with Knights against the Monk, which was the biggest issue. He can't be doing that. He could use the Scorpions against the Monk here too. Barles needs to be careful. Barles seemingly wants to deny the Siege Workshop. It's interesting that he's engaging this. I think that this engagement for Vinch is going to be something he'll actually be okay with. He's killing off most of the pikes. The Cav now comes in to kill the Siege. You could tell what Barles wanted there. He wanted to deny the Siege Workshop. He wanted to flatten the Scorpions. The Scorpions got 10 kills. The Cav then got 10. And that Siege Workshop will go up for Vinch. And he holds the position nicely with the Boyars. And so what's tricky here is Barles wanted a position for a castle for Trebs. He wants a castle here or he wants a castle here. He's up already. Now, you will get the armor upgrade instantly with the melee. That armor comes in instantly for the infantry, which is nice. But can he get the position for the castle here? That's the big thing. It's going to be tough. Like, I think it's very likely that he will just run into Boyars and Scorpions if he moves forward. Boyars actually much better against pikes than Knights would be because they have a bit of extra armor. And Vinch. His first priority in Castle Age was TC on that stone. And here he goes. He can even see the villagers moving forward as well. He understands what's happening, and Barles will not be able to place the castle that he wants. Vinchester controls both hills. He's got double outpost vision on this one. He knew the assignment, but I don't think he should place the castle close to Barles here. It could kind of bail him out. He's going to place it on the hill instead. And Barles kind of trickling in the pikemen here. A little wasteful, but man, Vinchester made a lot more Scorpions than I expected. Vinch has made over 10 Scorpions this game. That is a rarity. And now Barles has to think patience. And Vinchester, happy with his position, is just going to go imp. Man, Vinch is just so good. I don't know. Like, how is he able to get the timings this good in some of these messy situations? It's insane. I still have big concerns. Like, I think he actually could have some big issues because Halb is still a problem for him. But I don't know. Maybe Halb isn't a problem if you have a ball of 7 Scorpions. And if you have Boyars instead of Knights. There's still only 6 Halbs on the field right now for Barles. And Barles wants to drop a castle here. Okay, Monk goes in to get a conversion. Gets the conversion. Boyars take the Mangonel. The Boyars will now loop back to the Scorpions probably. Barles has no vision here too. He doesn't know what we know. God, I'd be so frustrated. It's just like, bro, I have Halb. I want forward castle. Let me build the castle. Vinchester, let me build the castle. And the thing is, his buildup was for this. It wasn't like this big eco boom, right? It wasn't an economic state at all. It was all about the timings in early imp. There we go. Now maybe this is the moment with more Boyars getting converted. Oh, God. Vinchester's bringing more Vills himself. It's a party. It's a party. Barles will lose his Halbs, but he's building his castle before Vinch is. Vinch, bro, I think you just got to back away. Build the second castle on the same hill, right? He continues to walk forward. There's no army here for Barles. Barles' castle's at 60%. There's Boyars here. There's Scorpions here. And it's not going to go up. It is not going to go up. A tilter for Barles. I mean, if he gets the castle up, at least he can make a Treb. But Vinchester just castles down here anyways. The castle's denied at 90%. And oh, man. Another great game from Vinchester. The power of the Slavs, man. The Eco, the Boyars, the Scorpions. And, oh, man, poor Barles. I mean, I hope this doesn't get to him too much. I hope he can look past it. Obviously, there was a bit of chatter. Very typical for a caster to speculate so heavily on just a couple words. But what a great game from Vinchester, who yet again just had, he had great recognition on the map and where the castles needed to go up. He had great economy. And it was just Scorpions, man. It's like players these days typically make 2 to 3 Scorpions. 2 to 3. And then they stop. He made 16 Scorps. And you might be like, well, why didn't Barles add mangonels? He did. Every time he had a mangonel, Vinchester would dive for it. There was like maybe 3 or 4 instances where Vinchester would kill it. So like, I'm just impressed with Vinch. I mean, we've seen so many times, if you watch competitive AoE 2, the melee, faster up, the feudal, castle, or imp, one of those things can break you. And civs that don't have bombard cannon, civs that, usually go for a lot of cav play against halb civs, struggle. Vinchester's just a beast. He's playing amazing, guys. He's playing amazing. Barles will feel that. Barles may also be a little bit frustrated with himself, with how some of those fights went. Barles bringing a high level. Vinchester just a level higher so far. And beautiful economy balance there from Vinchester. Love to see Vinchester play this way. Does T90 have enough resources for T90 Babe to click up to the wife upgrade? Or does he need some more Twitch primers? It doesn't matter. We could drop the 0 subs tomorrow. She's going to be clicking up to wife. It's just, we're busy. So we're getting married in about 2 years. But, the cats, on the other hand, the cats need food. All right. And so we have the love emote. And then we have the, what other word am I looking? What's the other? Oh, I think we just have the cat emote, which is our other cat. The kitties need to eat. All right. And sure, they're getting a little porky. And I'm having some issues getting the one to play fetch now that she's like 4. But, that's, your subs go towards that and, savings and salmon and, all that good stuff. All right. And of course, editors. I do actually pay people for stuff. So there's that too. Vinchester, there's a lot of positives, right? A lot of positives for him so far. He has been really clean, really smooth, and has just been on top of it. And so he finds himself up 2-0 here. It's been a great series from him. Barles, I don't think has played bad. I think game 2 is going to be a frustrating one for a lot of different reasons. Game 1, I think he made the most of a kind of a tough situation. But he's got to get a win here, man. He's got to get a win. Now, I look at this map, and I immediately think, tough time to be Choppa. Tough time to be a wood Choppa, because the wood lines are not really all that safe. It's kind of funny, because when you look at this, you might be like, oh, look, I can wall here. Oh, I can wall here. And you envision using the walls between the wood lines and the cliffs, right? But what you really have to think about is any of your wood safe from archers? And when Huns can make their cav archers, if this game is even in the mid game, I might prefer Huns on a map like this. So we'll see. Khmer obviously have really good Scorpions too. It's kind of funny how Vinchester makes 16 Scorpions in game 2 and then immediately goes for Khmer here game 3. He didn't pick Khmer for Scorpions. So, don't get your hopes up, but it's always nice to mix in. Khmer good in messy games. Huns also very good in messy games too. So, actually, if Barles wants to go really aggressive, sometimes on maps this open, building a tower on your wood and gold is really nice. And Vinch doesn't really have that luxury, right? Like, if he needs a tower, he has to choose one or the other. It's a bit of an old style. You don't see it these days where it's that crazy. But if it does get wild, one tower protects both those resources, which is really nice. Yo, Guardians, welcome back. Thanks for the 2 months. Thank you, Cellaburger, for the 2 months. EP, welcome back for 57, man. I don't know if you guys watch a lot of sports, but there's a lot of finals this weekend. It is a true finals weekend for me anyways. So we have, obviously we got the semifinals today. This is the first one. Then there's going to be the second one after. Tomorrow will be the finals in this tournament. There's the Wimbledon finals. I've been getting really into tennis again the last couple years. There's like the Euro finals, right? There's the Copa America finals. I don't know if there's any other finals. Nothing I really follow. But and then yeah, just lots of big sets. Vinchester's looking really good, man. I'm really impressed with Vinchester's consistency. The way that he plays is so difficult to be consistent. Like, I'm trying to think if there's another player who plays as technical as he's playing right now with consistency. I don't know if there is one. Like, there's other names you can mention that win more and are more successful, right? You know, Hera, Viper, and whatnot, but obviously, those two players are out of this tournament, which is pretty crazy. But Vinchester relies on these tiny little fights and minute little details, and it's tough to rely on those things all the time. You think Yo does? I don't see Yo really getting as much value from small fights as much. You know, it's a little bit greedier, I would say. But I don't know. It depends, I guess, right? Depends how you look at it. Barles is going to run back here. This is his best wood line. That's the best wood line that either player has. If Vinchester has got to be looking at these lumber camps right now like, yikes. What on earth is that right now? Some people saying it's coming home. Other people saying it's not coming home. Is it coming home? Yes or no, chat? What do you think? I feel like there's people firmly in two camps. I think there's a lot of no's. There's a lot of anti-Englanders. There's a lot of people who don't want England to win. It's coming home to Spain. Listen, Spain has won so much. I would be really happy for England if they get the job done. England is memed on a lot, and rightly so, deservedly so in some instances. But seriously, I would be happy for England. You know, maybe it's because I'm a little bit more connected to England than Spain because of the whole, you know, tea being dumped and, you know, separate. You know, history. Maybe it's because I watch a little bit more Premier League. I don't know. But I like England, man. I really hope they do it. I'd be happy for them. But I know that that's going to be an unpopular opinion. Conquistadors greater than longbows? It depends. It depends. What map are we going to see? Listen, we know that if the Spanish players need to turn it into arena, they're going to, you know, a little bit of theatrics, you know, little bit of defense into a counterattack, you know. They'll do what they have to make those conquistadors strong. Actually, they might not want arena. They might want nomad. Yeah, they definitely want nomad over the longbows. Okay. MBL says, oh god, you're such nerds. MBL, don't lie. You appreciate this. Alright. Scouts are against scouts here. Scout opening from both players. Vinchester has gone for... Well, great timing. MBL heard there was an egg wall base. And he said, oh, I need to go look at that. I like that. Yeah, this is an interesting way to wall, right? It requires less investment, and it keeps you safe from the scout rush, at least. Excuse me. I'm dying. Okay, we're fine. And gold, obviously, still a little bit exposed, but I like what Vinchester has done, and Barles has to small wall his resources here. This is where you need to just drop some palisades preemptively around your wood lines. Do not play the game where you quick wall last minute with the hunts. Other civs, maybe, because you can drop the houses, but you cannot do that with the Huns. Resources collected, a little bit higher here for Vinch. Vinchester going to shift over to gold, and he still has the scouts, and it does feel like Barles feels on the back foot right now because he just simply cannot do damage to Vinchester. I think what Barles, taking this wood line has not allowed him to do the same thing. Oh my god! Oh, that was sick from Barles. Look at that. Double gate action there. Awkward angles to get that right as well. That's impressive, but he, in the end, just got one additional hit, and he's like, whoa, that's a lot of scouts coming from Vinch. And he needs to add more than the spears he has. Or just add more scouts. I think adding more scouts is always the way to play here. Archer range for Vinch, so he'll mix in archers. I actually feel as though Vinchester might go for bloodlines. Again, there's a lot of scouts to get value from right now. The way this is building up still suits the Huns quite nicely. And could be good for a scout into cav archer approach, which is really good for the Huns. I think we see a lot more army here. I think we see upwards of 10 scouts for both here. Vinchester's not going to stop. Barles then won't stop. Then there will be archers. Keep in mind, no spears whatsoever for Vinchester. He skipped the barracks. You don't have to make it with the Khmer. If you don't have spears against lots of scouts, though, that could be a problem and a real difference maker. Bando says, fun fact, none of us will be alive in 1,000 years. That's not true. I have the secret, but I just refuse to share it. So, speak for yourself. That one archer will just do so little on its own. But when you have the archers in the mix, those archers could help against the spears there from Barles, so those archers are necessary. Bear goes down. Yikes. Armor now on the way here for Vinch. Oh, man. This is Arabia, people. This is Arabia. Lots of army. I've really enjoyed how there can be so many different map gens in this tournament, and that's just because of the version of Arabia. I actually think it's been nice. I understand why some people don't like it, because you want to prepare a certain strat, and if the map is more open and you picked a civ like humans or something, which could rely on more closed maps, then you're like, well, what gives? But in general, it's been cool to see some variety game to game. The idle TC time is really low for them. The army production's high. The eco expansion is really smooth. Both players have played this very well here, but it's going to build up towards one engagement, and the archers for Vinchester have gone too far, and he's going to be forced to engage to try and save his archers here. Nice engagement for Barles. That's really nice. It's a really nice find for him. And he does have bloodlines now. Vinchester has armor. And Barles still could find some good fights. Uncharacteristic of Vinchester to be out of position there with his army. And now his gold's going to start to get pressured here by the archers and by the scouts. He will pull home. He's really close to the TC. It's kind of an interesting one because Barles he doesn't have the archers to really harass the gold compared to Vinch. And the resources for Vinch are looking good for Castle Age, but he hasn't gone bloodlines. And it's going to be bloodlines and forging here for Barles. I personally, I think bloodlines is a must. I'm shocked that Vinch didn't get it, and we have a big fight here. Are there still spearmen in the group? There are. There's still 3 spearmen in there. Vinchester's getting slaughtered. And Barles, he needed a big moment. There were some rough instances in the previous game especially. He gets the big moment. That is beautiful from him. It clears out everything that Vinchester had. There's no potential for Vinchester to counterattack right now. And as Vinchester thinks about Castle Age, Barles is all over his gold. The positive for Vinch would be the fact he has actually clicked up to Castle Age and Barles has not. And he still hasn't lost any villagers here. I don't think Barles will complain about that fight. Now he doesn't have to wall as much, and now we can focus fully on trying to pressure Vinchester here. The scouts from Barles run in. Why not? You have so many. And he's going to run in here as well. So now Vinchester needs to quick wall both sides. Still has to defend his gold as well. There's still archers there. Here we're going to see villagers go into houses, but one goes down. Here the farms are now idled. Vinch has 4 archers right now. And, he can't protect the gold, and he can't protect everything else with so little army. Somehow, he hasn't just been completely slaughtered. It's impressive. Not going to lie. But he's starting to break ever so slightly here. And it's just because those scouts went in. That was really smart from Barles. Had he not dove with the scouts, he might not have killed any villagers. And now we'll find 2 more Vill picks. You'll be very happy with this if you're Barles. The only worry now is you probably know Vinchester's up. And you don't want to die to that. But more villagers going down over here. Archers going down over here. And I got to take it back to 2 things. I think I think Vinchester losing a couple archers hurt him. But more than that, I think not having bloodlines. I mean, there were so many scouts out. And oh man, more villagers going down. 7 villagers now lost by Vinch. Yeah, you have that number of scouts. I think you need to have bloodlines to add the HP. 9 villagers lost. This does get interesting though, because Barles isn't up yet. And Vinchester's making knights. There's no way Vinch brings himself back from this. Vinch drops the second TC. I mean, knights, if they get in anywhere, can kill 9 villagers and catch right up pretty quickly. A third TC? Okay, so basically, Vinch will not be able to justify more than the knights that he's already queued up. And all of his food eco is going to go into recovering with villagers. 3 TCs against 1? If he can produce a lot, maybe he can come back. Oh man, there was a hole there and Barles just noticed it. But knights are going to be on the way. Can Vinchester do something here? I mean, here's the thing. It's super easy for him to spam, produce villagers. There's the nice stop bug. Love the fact that that's still happening. He could just spam villagers without having to think about it. And he's such a micro nerd that he could easily use the knights effectively, even against spears. As I say that, he is a little distracted, but he killed 3. This archer will be killed off. The eco balance is still not great for Vinch. And Barles a minute away from being up, but look at the Vill count. 43 Vills versus 47. Vinch is actually going to have more Vills than Barles here. That's pretty crazy that that's the situation we're in right now. Now, Barles could immediately drop town centers as well. Kind of interesting he's got auto farm on right now. A lot of players wouldn't have that because when you want the wood for town centers and other things, you don't want to be reseeding farms when you have so many. He's got a lot of farms. 29 farms. Holy. But I think he could easily just, turn that off. Or maybe he's got enough wood income to drop TCs anyways. Where does he TC? I think he TC this wood line. Maybe you want to TC this gold then. It's the right play from Barles. Yeah, I like the market. It's the right play from Barles to drop the monastery too. Here he's got enough spearmen there, and Vinchester was not expecting that. 3 town centers for Vinchester with Khmer. The farms, very efficient here. He's still down 1,500 resources collected. And his knights, they've been effective, but it was short-lived. He kills 1 more villager, but trades away. Oh, God, that's not worth it. Oh, man, trades away 4 knights for 1 more vill. And Barles is going to be up on 5 knights. Barles will have cav archers. Barles will have monks. And the situation is good enough for Barles where he can also drop those TCs. But maybe you don't do that on a map that is this exposed. Maybe you just really try and force the issue here. I like the position for cav archers behind the wood lines. This is the main thing we mentioned before. The cav archers behind wood lines, and then suddenly Vinchester just doesn't really have much of an answer. And if you don't have wood, you don't get food because you can't farm. You don't get wood, you can't make buildings. Like, wood is the most important resource here. Of course, there's going to be some resistance here from Vinch. 15 villagers ahead. Things will start to stabilize in terms of res collected and get closer. And as always, it's like Vinch has just enough where he needs it to still stay in the game. Mixing in the night numbers again. Monk gets pulled back. And he'll aim for conversions. The Lycav want those monks, but they can't get through the walls right now. There's the second TC now for Barles. Third TC could go up as well. He's going to place it there on the stone. So that means forward castle at some point. Kind of what Vinchester liked to do in the previous games. Guys, in the first two games, when Vinch got the lead, in some instances, it kind of felt... I think Inevitable's a little harsh. But you could really... There was a lot of confidence in how Vinch was playing with his position. And I still look at Vinchester right now, and I just have this belief. And I don't know... I think it's a mix of the situation, but also how he's played. Like, he has just played super good. To bring himself back from this, really impressive. Hides the monks inside the TC. The Lycav are going in to find those. And Barles probably realizes the monks are not going to hop out anytime soon. Still, could see some villagers get picked off by the Lycav, and it looks like that'll be the case. Vinchester has to back away on the right side. Once he kills off the Lycav, he can use his monks again. And Barles will be pretty happy with this still. You're still applying pressure. You still have full control. You're giving yourself time to build up cav archers, but now there's scorpions behind. And these are Khmer scorpions as well. Barles is through, though. The Lycav are no longer here to pose a threat to the monks, though. And Vinchester's okay. Does Vinch think he has bloodlines? Oh, he still doesn't have it. Excuse me. I didn't realize he still didn't have it. Maybe he thought he had it in that engagement earlier, and that kind of explains everything. This is awful for Vinchester. Vinchester is to be so careful here. He wants a wood line. He places the houses. More house walling required. More T is required for me. I'm sorry. The TC will actually go up. That's crazy. I don't know how he's able to get that TC up, but at what cost? Really expensive losses for him. He lost all of his army just to complete the TC. 9 villagers ahead now. Barles waiting for a counterattack. Has the spears ready. Not a bad engagement for Barles. It gives him time to notice with the monk as well. And Barles will convert that knight. That is beautiful defense by Barles. He had just enough at home. And Vinchester... What I felt was working for him was he was getting his knight numbers back up. But his knight numbers are awful now. And not having bloodlines certainly plays a role. What's kind of interesting, by the way, is you're not, at this stage, actually clicking your stable. Which means you're probably not going to notice... Oh, well, he went for husbandry. So maybe he'll queue it up now, if he noticed. But it also depends, like, do they have hotkeys for these techs, too? Like, in my case, I don't have hotkeys for bloodlines or husbandry, so I click my stable, and there's a brief moment where I could see the available upgrades, and I could notice. But if you just have your stables on a control group, you're just pressing the control group, and you're just spamming the knights, and you're not really looking in the area that would show the tech. Yeah, I think he saw bloodlines when he went to go get husbandry. 30 seconds of TC idle time for Barles? 30 seconds? What? That's crazy. And here comes Siege as well. I love this from Barles. Non-stop pressure. I like how Vinch is trying to distract Barles, though. Like, this is his best way to come back in the game. Is to kind of ignore what's happening at his base and still try and find kills. And he's going to find a lot here. It makes it more difficult for Barles to focus on that forward pressure when he's got knights running through his base. How many times do we see that, right? Where a player who's pushing falls apart because they get raided at home. Mangonels here for the Scorpions. And repairing on this would be really nice, but you just need one hit on those Scorpions, and then maybe we see a big dive here for Barles. Who knows? Vinch still splitting up the knights. I wonder if Barles is regretting going Cav Archers here. Like, I wonder, maybe full Knights and Light Cav would have just been easier to track this stuff down. I don't know. He's Huns. Why not both, right? Vinch still staying in this. He's well aware there's Mangonels there. There's Monks now, too, though. Oh, and he's already committed. And Barles loves his Monks. And Barles will get 2 conversions there. I think that's worth it. The Monks are still alive as well. That's huge for Barles. Oh, man. Vinch just keeps coming back. Oh, he's being so annoying. Well, sometimes you just gotta kill someone off, right? If Vinch can still find these opportunities, you gotta end him. And end him fast. That castle would be epic if that Monk moves. What is he doing? What is he doing? What is it? Bro, the Monk's over the foundation. Barles clicked the Vils onto the foundation, and the Monk knows to move, but not off the foundation. Okay. Monk was trolling in there. That fortunately for Barles will not be a game decider because he's still got an amazing position. The castle will go up, no problem. And Barles will click up. Barles with an amazing game here. Again, especially with how certain things went in the second game, I was concerned that there might be some level of tilt. It's rare for Barles to speak, you know, and be a chatty individual in a competitive game. Rare for most people to say anything, you know. He did. He was down 2-0, and Vinch was playing like a god, so I was concerned. But castle goes up for Barles in defense, like he expected this. He still loses a bunch of Vils, though. But he's on the way home. He's pushing Vinchester. Vinchester is nowhere close to clicking up to the Imperial Age. Vinchester needs to find more engagements. Where is he supposed to go? Barles has enough Cav Archers and Knights to chase everything down. Barles could go for a second forward castle if he feels that's the play, or he could go for a defensive castle. There's a castle for Vinchester now. And this army is good enough to stop that castle, so Vinchester actually takes the fight. It's a losing fight, so he can complete the castle here. Over here, Barles also got a conversion, I think. Maybe just one. But yeah, he notices. He'll kill the Scorpions there as well. Barles still has the stone for another castle. 20 Cav Archers soon. And as long as Barles just holds on here and gets those Cav Archer upgrades, I think Vinchester is finished. Like this, all of this eco will likely get trebbed back. And Barles is well aware of where Vinchester is at all times. And when you think of Barles, you think of a player who's good on closed maps first, but he has the skills on the open maps too. Just because he's good at those arena and Black Forest maps doesn't mean he can't play on Arabia, and he's shown that in this tournament, and he shows it there. Beautiful comeback victory there from Barles. That was a statement. That was really good. I was a little concerned for Barles when Vinch had the early walls, and it felt like Barles could do no damage to him. But Barles kept producing army, and he punished Vinchester for lack of bloodlines, lack of upgrades, and killed, what, 9 villagers with the Feudal Age army, then defended pretty well against the Castle Age army Vinch came out with. And on a map like this, man, like forward castles, tons of army, TCs everywhere, it's what you need, and he kind of had it all here. And Kimura also was a pretty high pick for Vinchester on his draft, too, so in terms of that aspect, that's a confidence builder as well for Barles. We have ourselves a series now. Great stuff. I was kind of concerned that this was just going to inevitably be Vinchester's series, but Barles showed a really high level there. Japanese Tatars. Ooh, we could have a Cav Archer matchup here. And thank you, Bagare. Welcome to stream, man. I saw your comments earlier during the crazy night war in the previous game. And looking at the maps, gold could be an issue for both of them. So they both have 3 woodlines close to their TC, and then their gold is in an awkward area. This gold is on the hill and exposed for Barles. This gold is in a very open area here for Vinchester. I personally would say that The map for Barles is better, though, because I think it just simplifies your approach. It's easier to wall, and then you have one area to protect, which would be the gold. So things are looking up for him in that regard. Obviously, long-term, though, yikes. This is actually his gold. That is in the middle of the map. That's not good. Back here, this is really nice, though, so I don't know. We'll see. Will we see flaming camels? Doubt it. I highly doubt it. I wonder if we're going to see infantry archer here, though. Because, like, Japanese could do that. Vinchester, he likes to do that with any civ. And he's got 4 on wood right now. So I think we might see an early barracks here. What's up, Russell? Welcome. Yeah, Barles could always go to the back gold first. But he had a situation in game 1 where he could have done that. And he chose not to. So I think you just take this. And you just build your army out in front of it. As long as you just have one area that you need to keep an eye on. That will be the area where usually you'll see the military buildings and the army and the focus be. So, CD Kid, thanks for the gifted sub, man. Thank you, Chase, for the prime. Thank you, Ryuki, for the 13 months. Russell, nice to see you, man. Thank you. I'm going to say this because I feel like some people here probably didn't hear me say this before, and they'll appreciate this. So I met Russell at the USA viewing party for Hidden Cup 5, right? Got to meet so many amazing people there. It was such a good time. Russell gave me a Farming for Dummies book and asked for a photo with it. Yeah, that's right. Flew. I don't know if he flew. Maybe he drove. I don't know. He traveled a great distance to meet me and gave me a Farming for Dummies book and had me take a photo with it. Have you read it yet? No, of course not. So, yeah. There was no Age of Empires tips in there, all right? I tried. I looked for the Age of Empires chapter. It wasn't there. That's actually not as bad as the guy who flew from Uruguay. He waits in line. He waited in line for like an hour and a half, comes up, immediately says, "Hi, T90, do you remember this?" Shoves his phone in my face, and it's a picture of his monitor from when he beat me in ranked like 2 years prior. So he meets me, shows me that he beat me, and I obviously remembered the game too. Like it was still in my brain. So, I mean, both you guys are savages, let's just say that. But that one was probably a little bit more in my face than the farming thing. I played him again. Guys, for the first time in a while, I played him again like a month ago. And I didn't, he changed his name, I guess. So he said like something along the lines of, do you remember when I showed you that? And I did. And I said, sorry, I'm not going to give you another win for the next meetup. Yeah, I did beat him, but I was sweating, man. Like I almost threw, and you better believe that there was pressure. Usually in a ranked game, like whatever, I lose all the time. But there was pressure. I didn't want it to happen again. So Vinchester's militia ran into 2 tigers on the way here. So he found everything but the enemy. And now his militia are here, but they're weak. And Barles is making his own militia. So Barles should be fine here. The difference here is Barles has actually clicked up the feudal already. So he'll be in feudal age faster. Vinchester delayed his feudal age click. And look at these walls, man. Tiny little egg walls again, just to keep himself safe. He doesn't really have a map that's conducive for full walls. And this fight is amazing for Barles. Just amazing. It'll be a full clear up on the militia. And then the big thing he wants here is he wants to kill Vinchester's scout. Vinch is Tatars, so Vinch could run to the hill and get some extra hill damage. But I still think Vinchester loses his scout. Barles right on top of it. Great moments for Barles here. Not as much pressure as you'll have playing against Emu or Macy and TCC. I do have some decent pressure playing against those people in Community Cup, for sure. Losing to someone in my own Community Cup is unacceptable, so I'll be putting long 10-hour training sessions to make sure that doesn't happen. Actually, 10 hours is just the warm-up. I think we do 10-hour warm-up, and we turn it into a 24-hour training session. every 3 days. Something like that. I don't know. Taking it very seriously. But they're solid players, and if I continue to randomly pick and ban things with my draft, which is what I've done in the whole Community Cup so far to make it spicy, with certain maps, I could be in trouble for sure. A range is coming up here for Vinchester. Resources collected, very smooth for him. Being the Tatars, all the extra food in the sheep is really nice. And I guess he's going to, like, slowly wall in front of this gold. And Barles already has an archer, a skirm, plus he has his starting scout, and he has the 2 militia. Vinchester's found another tiger! This is the 3rd animal he's run into here. Oh my god, is there another one? Wow, there's a lot of tigers in this game. This one's attacking Barles right now. The tigers are hungry. But yeah, I mean, it's just got to be annoying if you're Vinch right now. It's like every time you run forward, you're running into wild animals. Guys, Barles got a solid start here. Getting fletching now. Vinchester's going to have his work cut out for him with the micro. The nice thing for Vinch is that skirm defense should be fine. The militia and the scout will eventually die to that, even though it's just skirmishers. And his eco is looking good too. So there is that. If he defends from this attack, I really like the Tatars in early Castle Age against the Japanese. But it's amazing just how fast things can turn around in the series. I think it really helps that it's the same map every single time. Because it's like, sometimes I think players have strengths and weaknesses on certain maps. If you have a bad game on a map that's your home map, it can snowball on you then when you're then like down the game, but you're also down a map that you're good at. Everyone here who's gotten to the semifinals good on Arabia. And you know what you're going to get each and every time. And Barles, I think, realizing that even with fletching, he's not able to do some damage here. And drops the market super early here. And, I mean, he has walled so well that I don't think he's really going to need a tower on his golds. At least in Feudal. So he could sell off the stone, but yeah, they're going to try and... Or Barles, rather, is going to try and rush this to Castle Age. Even stopped producing skirms and stopped producing archers here. Barles is playing AoE2 and Vinch is playing... is on a Safari, yeah. Safari Simulator. Does that exist? I feel like there's a lot of simulator games. Maybe... I think there's like Zoo Tycoon, but that would be... That'd be a bit different, I guess. You know, I watched a video of someone playing Power Washing Simulator, and it was incredibly satisfying. Meanwhile, I paid someone to power wash my house, but I would definitely watch someone play. I would definitely watch someone play Power Washing Simulator. Another tiger! What happened? Why is there so many tigers? There's another tiger and another. Okay, we got to go back and count the tigers, man. There's an abnormal amount of tigers on this map. Who let them out of the zoo? What in the world? A nice find here from Barles. Barles kills a villager. And Barles is on the hunt, not for tigers, but for villagers, and he gets pushed away. But that's really nice damage. I really like the position for Barles. Except for the fact he's being attacked by 2 tigers! What in the world? Is there gonna... There's another one! They're everywhere! This is... I don't think this is normal. I don't know if I've seen an Arabia game where so many... There's so many Gaia units out here. And they're focused on the archer, too? Woo, woo, woo! Let's go! Come on, tigers! Go! Oh, okay. Well, I mean, he killed one. Sheesh, man. That's crazy. Meanwhile, skirmishers chasing down archers over here. What do you know? Another tiger. All right. We'll see who the tiger chases. There's 2 more tigers here in the north. And a stable now for Barles. I mean, here's the issue for Barles. He's going to be in Castle Age faster, but he doesn't really have... Here's another tiger. He doesn't really have a lot of archers. And I think it's really difficult to justify getting crossbow and bodkin for 8 archers, especially when they're all split up. And maybe he just changes his approach. Maybe he makes a knight and buys the stone back and drops a TC. I kind of want to go back and count the tigers, but we should probably wait for that. But guys, I have a horrible time of remembering things that I say. I could be very ADHD, so please, before I forget, or if I forget at the end, remind me and we can check, okay? I would say that it's probably not going to be on my mind at the end of this game, because this is going to turn into more serious battles. Oh my god, dude! All right. Well, Barles is running forward. He does get crossbow. He does get bodkin. So here he comes to push. And where will he choose to go? Tiger still hungry. Tiger going to get the kill? Woo woo woo? Woo woo woo? Gets the kill. Oh, man. so stupid, dude. There's definitely an abnormal amount of tigers. I like how Vinch walled this up. But Barles realized that would be protected, and Barles kills a villager here. Elite Skirm's now on the way for Vinch, as is the second TC, which Barles is not doing yet. And Barles hoping to break through. He'll see the Skirms, though. He should know that he won't be able to push with only crossbow here. Elite Skirm will be in 10 seconds, so there's still that tiny window players will take advantage of here. So, fast university for Vinchester, so we can get ballistics on all this, too. And it's going to be crossbow and elite skirm. Now Barles needs something else. And he correctly decided on the next move. Here's my issue with the position for Barles right now. Cav archers for Japanese, good, right? But, like, he's got a weird mix of units. 3 knights, 8 crossbows, 3 cav archers, 1 mangonel. And they all move at different speeds. They're all different unit types. It can be kind of tough to get good fights that way. At least forward. Like, getting that all to move forward to the proper position could be really tricky. Vinchester was on the second TC a bit faster, so yes, he lost some vills, but he's going to be in a fine spot. And now Vinch getting ballistics. I feel like these hills right here, right through the middle, all these hills that span, incredibly important, seeing as we have Tatars here. Tatars doing even more damage when fighting on top of hills. I think Vinch noticed these 2 knights are looping around. He's going to have 4 crossbows. He's waiting for this. But he has to actually be paying attention. And he's apparently not paying attention. Bit of a late reaction there for Vinch. And that's nice damage for Barles. And Barles is going to have 2 mangonels, so I think Vinchester's army will find it very difficult to move out. I was thinking Vinchester would move out and be aggressive here. I think he finds it awkward to do so until he's fully walled, and he's trying to wall this backside right now. But there's a risk that he runs directly into siege. This is... oh, man. Like, he might expect it because Barles has known about this stuff for too long to not add in something that can deal with this, but this is dangerous. And Vinch was going to drop a TC here, forced to add his own siege workshop. Nice job from Barles. I really like the approach. Does lose his knights back here. Vinch, good job tracking that. And actually, it becomes a defensive siege workshop for Vinch. Another tiger. How did that one even get there? How did... oh, man. Barles will want the hills, and he knows that this is where Vinchester's taking resources, so he's going to camp this hill. He needs to bring a repair vill. There is a vill coming forward to build an outpost. You definitely want to have repairs on your siege. I think Vinch is going to see this as an opportunity to maybe sneak over and get a TC here. I'd like to see an outpost on this hill, though, so he knows if pressure swings over his way. He's basically waiting right now for this army to run through. Again, the siege is the issue. The cav archers, the knights, and the crossbows actually are not the issue. So if Vinch can take care of the siege, he's okay. God, I love outposting. I think it's so underutilized. Big shot there from Vinch. That's nice. And now Barles knows that Vinch has siege. If Vinch has to dodge there, goodness gracious, the micro. Outpost will go up. That tells Barles he might want to push that. Honestly. Do you shift position? I don't know. Because this hill's still really valuable. But that's stone. Like, you don't want Vinchester to be able to mine that. Only 3 villagers killed this game, which is crazy. Barles drops TC number 3. His eco is looking good. Both players are in insane shape here, guys. Remember, Barles beat ACCM. Who else did Barles beat? Can someone pull up the bracket? Beat some big names to get here. Vinchester. He beat Vivi yesterday. He beat MBL before. Viper out. Hera out. Leary out. And all those players basically out to, you know, players we might see in the semifinals or either beat the players that beat the others. It's kind of a tricky situation, but it's been underdog city in this tournament. Nice job there for... Oh, man. Nice job there for Vinchester. Disaster for Barles. Barles, careful. He's getting really greedy here. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's worth it. But it really felt to me there that he really didn't want to give up on that mangonel, and Vinchester did a good job with the repairs. There's no Repairville around anymore for Barles. But this is, I think, the right move to reposition and pressure this TC. Because this is directly between the two bases. This is the area that's important. Dang. Mangonel's still weak, but another villager comes forward. Yeah, that's an issue right now for Vinch. Is he just needs to take care of this siege. Vinchester with the micro tries to go for the Repairville. Crazy how important that is. Oh, man. Vinch's micro is out of this world right now. But Barles is still has enough every time. Still is just enough. I am worried about the lack of Cav Archer support. It feels like a couple knights looping in for the siege could be a problem for Barles soon. But, man, is this micro good. And Barles sees this. Micros. Vinchester can't lose this TC, man. He wants a castle. Can you imagine if Vinch gets one big siege shot? He will instantly castle forward. This whole game changes just based on the siege. He wants a castle, but you never want to build a castle just to keep your TC alive. And, well, it's not even going to do that. He's just going to build a castle on the back. So much respect for Barles, and I think he just realizes he's never going to break this position easily. After the castle's up, he can make a couple Keshiks, which is a really underrated unique unit. They're insane, actually. And Barles still paying attention to his push on the front and gets another hit. And had Cav Archers back here to distract Vinch, where Vinch has to drop a tower. And man, oh man, this pressure. TC's down. See, does Barles, is he paying attention to this? He will react here. He might run into the castle. Very relatable situation there. Somehow only lost one as he kills more vills over here. Nice job from Barles to sit underneath that tower. Barles is saving stone for tomorrow and the day after and the day after that. He just had almost 2,000 stone. He's going to drop a castle here now. And he can still afford another castle. And by the time that one's complete, he might be able to afford another one. Here go his Cav Archers. I'm worried for Barles that he doesn't really have an army beyond the siege right now. Vinchester will be disappointed he didn't kill more Cav Archers there, honestly. But Vinchester's up. The couple Keshiks he does have may loop around here to try and snipe the siege. Barles probably wants a Trebor. Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, he just had so much on stone while he was focusing on the micro. Or will Vinchester want a castle? There's a lot of gold and stone up here, actually, for Vinch. And Barles still hasn't clicked up to Imp. Barles has 1,600 stone right now. I don't know if I've ever seen a player have a castle and also 1,600 stone and not be an imp in a game before. That's crazy. Why did Vinchester split micro there? He tried to split away from the monk's faith? That's kind of funny. Well, if, you know, someone knocks at your door, just split micro, guys, and you can avoid the their message, apparently. He did delete the unit that was getting converted, though, which is really smart. 2,000 stone for Barles. I mean, surely you got to make another castle here at some point. Just build a castle on a hill. He probably wants it here. And still not sure what his army will be long term here. But, oh, Vinchester wanted to castle this hill. Vinchester sending vills this way still, and that's going to be a castle for Barles. Yeah, Barles is going to have so many hills locked down with castles. I don't know what his army is going to be necessarily. I still think it's Cav Archer. He's got plenty of time. Plenty of time to figure this one out. It will take Vinchester an extremely long time to trap these castles down. And I don't know what Vinch does from here, really. Like, I think what would have been nice for Vinch is he gets completely rocked here. Oh, he's completely distracted. He's looking over here, maybe. Oh, man, Vinch loses all of his skirmishers. I think maybe the thinking for Vinch was like... Or the way back for Vinch would have been a forward castle at Barles' base, but he really has no support. And Barles... bouncing back after losing the first two, and he is all over Vinchester right now. It's a weird one. I understand why people would think that Vinch would make Trebs, but I think it's actually weirdly correct that Vinchester doesn't, because if he would have tried to just Treb uphill, it never would have gone anywhere. And he had no way to protect the Trebs against the Mangonels and the Cav Archers, so... I think he's kind of out of ideas, and he's hoping that Elite Keshik is strong enough. But, again, Barles has the time to mass Cav Archers. He's got good resources now. And he builds even yet another castle here. I mean, he might even build another in the north here. Elite Keshik is a really underrated unit. The main thing about them that I think is strong is actually just how cheap they are. A lot of people don't realize that they're so cheap for the stats they give. It's full armor for Vinch. So that's nice. 160 HP, 11 attack, but... still not an answer to castles. And if you make the answer for castles, Barles has the better answer to your answer, which would be Japanese trebuchets. Vinchester macroing a lot right now, too. Is really going for that economic approach, but the heavy Cav Archers find value with the monks. Vinch has to scramble up another castle here. This will probably go up, but he'll take losses. And Barles is aware that there is a castle here from Vinch, so he's not too far removed from trebbing that down. Halb Cav Archer is a sick combination for the Japanese at this stage. Still waiting on the Halb upgrade, but it's on the way. And Barles waiting till he has enough trebs to push. He seems really concerned. Like, this castle tells me he's really concerned he's going to be raided, which is a bit weird to me. But I think he will feel his position is good enough where he cannot lose as long as big mistakes aren't made. And when you fall into that position, I understand that, castle. Because you're like, basically, I win over the next 3 minutes as long as I don't take damage. I still think, though, that, like, this, even if for a defensive castle, I think it could have been better than that. But yeah, he places one here now, so. He doesn't want to have to use units to defend his base. He wants to use units to attack. The castles serve a really good purpose in that way. And now he's about to have 4 trebs to move on Vinchester's trebs. Vinchester starting to make skirms. Vinchester finally starting to make some trebs. He's really been macroing hard back here on stone, on gold. Lots of resource income, but you now have to face the music, Vinch. You now have to face the music, and that's 4 trebs. Barles didn't go in with 1 or 2. And so now Vinch has to repair and react, but he doesn't have the time. That's what happens when you wait for the proper treb number. This castle will likely fall. And he would need to bring over Keshiks to deal with the trebs to help with that, and that's not going to happen. Halbs are here. Cav archers are here. Barles still tracking these Keshiks too. Vinchester with another castle. Vinchester feels like if he loses this position, it's over. I think it's over. Barles is up to 200 pop. He's got 30 Halbs. Doesn't really have that many Cav archers, but that's fine. And it's going to be interesting where he pushes. He might actually choose to just swing around and take this castle. But even if he doesn't see this castle, whatever, right? Like, if anything, going this direction is better for Barles. Barles will be happy that he has one relic, and he still sees the relics on the map, so that means his opponent can't take any. And Cataparuto! Let's go! Cataparuto, the Treb technology for the Japanese on the way. And yeah, these things, they just, they'll unpack so quickly. You can pop them and lock them and drop them, and nothing can stop them. I didn't know where I was going with that, but I guess that works. And Yasama even, because he might think about dropping towers. I don't know if he really has the stone for towers anymore with having 5 castles. But I think it's certainly not going to be hard to buy some stone if he needs it. And yeah, you have Cataparuto now, and you just bring the Trebs over. Man, hot take, but trebuchets would be a whole lot less stressful if like every single person's Treb packed up like that, and Japanese got a different unique tech. I don't think they should ever change it. But man, it's like very satisfying to see the Trebs pack up so quickly. Because Trebs can be annoying. Coming from a guy who tells his Trebs to unpack 6 times before they actually do. There's the tower, actually, and there's guard tower. So this is a useful tower. Just to keep Vinchester off that gold. How is Vinch at 200 pop right now? What in the world? Barles has been very calculated and like slowly building up more techs, more army. But impressive, I guess, that Vinchester hasn't been killed off yet. It just, he has no way to push this position from Barles. And the Trebs are just, they're on their way now. There's some heavy Cav archers from Vinchester too. He also has his unique tech, which helps those Cav archers. And Tatar Cav archers on the hill with Skirm. Suddenly, this is a pretty good fight. Don't tell me Barles is going to lose this fight. This is actually kind of awkward for him right now. He's got endless resources. Vinch doesn't have any access to gold. Maybe if Vinch can slowly mass Treb somewhere and push back a position to take more gold. Okay, here he's going to take out these towers. I don't think the unit choice is bad for Barles. Don't think it is. I know that like Samurai would be really exciting with 5 castles, but against Keshiks and against Cav archers, I don't think that's it. It just felt like he gave Vinch a lot of time here. And Vinch used that time very effectively. I mean, he ran out of wood in the corner. He really expanded to the very edge. The Halbs aren't countering a ton right now. But it's still kind of a throwaway unit in many ways if you're Barles. And they still will chew up the Skirms and the Keshiks if they get in close. And Barles just brought his Trebs over. He wants to take this castle. He lost one of his own Trebs. He'll dive with Halbs against the Treb, which is a bit desperate. Halbs do very little damage against Trebs. Vinchester has nice population. The Halbs are now gone. Vinchester will now take the Trebs. Vinchester's castle stands. And with Vinchester's castle standing, he can take this gold. There's not much of it. There's only 600, but he can still take some. I think, honestly, full Cav archer for Barles, and he's fine. He just had too many Halbs. He needed to get rid of them. Japanese CA do +2 attack or +2 damage against other archers as well, so they arguably have the better Cav archers. He's still got great map control. What I'd like to see is I'd like to see at least like 10 villagers here. You can't leave this gold here. You can't leave this gold here in case your opponent takes it back. But yeah, like Vinchester lost most of his skirms. Cav archers is what you want right now if you're Barles. But Vinch is raiding this. Vinch has light cav out. If Vinch wins this game, this is the series. It's not actually, of course, because it's the best of 7, but like, you can't lose this game if you're Barles. Emotionally, I don't know if you could recover from it. He's played it like a player who felt like he had this game won. He has Keep with Japanese, Yasama, all these techs. Only one relic. Vinchester will lose that Treb. The tower there gets denied. Castle here needs to stay up. Barles doesn't have a lot of stone to repair castles, guys. Barles doesn't have an answer to the trebuchets. The castle falls. What is happening right now? What is happening? Still, Barles should win this game. Still has the potential for Golden Come. Arguably the better CA. Still a good position in the middle. His position is not lost. Vinchester, very little Golden Come. Vinch needs to snag this relic. It'll pay off eventually, but I say needed. You got to focus on the fights too. Barles still has more vills than Vinchester. He still has more army than Vinchester. He has his own trebs. He is fine. A little bit of copium here, you know, for Barles. I'm a little concerned, you know, like this is some doubt that's crept in that I wasn't expecting, but no, he's fine. He repairs the treb. The Cav Archers are in a much higher mass, and maybe now, finally, Vinchester is killed off here, and Barles will benefit from the position that he worked so hard to get in Castle Age and earned an imp with all the castles. A crazy game, though, and a great series. And it's going to be 2-2. Gotta love it, man. The resilience from Barles. Especially with after how those first 2 games went. Very hard to push back against that mentally. But Vinch is dead. Vinch will be out of golds. He's got 20 gold remaining there. He has no relics, and the GG is called. Well played there from Barles. And listen, you don't care how you get the wins. You do not care whatsoever. You just want the wins. It doesn't matter if someone named Jimmy Bob Jr. in my Twitch chat or YouTube comments are going to say, oh, man, Barles should have finished that off faster. No one cares, Jimmy Bob Jr. No one cares. He got the win. He had the position where he was allowed to make mistakes. And he collected insane amounts of resources, 80,000 resources collected. Great technology. How many techs did he get that game? 48. That's rare. Solid KD. And just really good map control. It was the siege and the early Castle Age presence from Barles, which was really good this game. Okay, so let's count the Tigers. I'm trying to double click the Tigers. There's 14 Tigers? That is too many. That's too many. I think it's supposed to be like 6 or maybe 8. I don't know how we got to 14 here. Man, should have picked Magyars, man. Or I guess that wouldn't have helped because only villagers one-shot wild animals. 14 Tigers in a game is crazy. GG, though. 2-2. Let's go, people. Here we are, game number 5. What a semifinal it has been. I've loved the consistency from Barles economically the previous 2 games. It's been really solid. And he was never really able to have the smooth eco in game 1 and game 2 that he wanted because Vinchester was finding these moments to take good fights and have good aggression. Now, in the previous game, there was an obnoxious amount of Tigers. So immediately, I want to double-click the Lions, and there's only 5. Okay, so the previous game must have been bugged. This is normal. 5 wild animals that maybe, if you're unlucky, attack you. That's standard. 14 on one map is crazy. So the players won't have to deal with that. We got Barles going for the Magyars here. And then we have Vinchester going for the Mayans. Now, Mayans start with an extra vill. Mayans have the cheap walls. Mayans have cheap archers. It's one of the best civs. It just is for Arabia. They're so good at what they do. The Magyars are good at what they do, which would be like scouts and cav archers. However, no eco bonuses to work with. And no discounts. Well, actually, that's not true. Their scouts are discounted. But no like big discounts that help you throughout the whole game, I would say. So this is definitely a game where Barles needs to be the aggressor. Vinchester, especially with these wood lines, I think, will probably be the player who wants to wall up and play it safe. Now, Barles has a really wallable map too, which he could take advantage of. But again, you don't want this to be a boomy game. And I think Vinchester is going to do the thing that brought him so much success with the Incas in the first game. And something he's done every time this tournament. And he's going to go for an early barracks and an early militia. He's definitely going to go for a bit of a drush here. It was something that Vinchester kind of started and perfected. And there was a solid year where everyone was doing it. These days, we're not seeing it as much from other players. But for whatever reason, I think it's really strong with Mezzo. I guess it's because maybe their openings are a little predictable. You know they can't go scouts, so it's easy for the opponent to understand what's happening. And Mayans especially perform really well with walling. And it just gives you a bit more time. Pressure the opponent in Dark Age, give yourself some time to get the walls down. So, how many resources is the time worth that the militia buys? Well, you have to think about it differently than that. I think a villager brings in, 25 or 30 resources on average per minute. And when you go for this build, you have more villagers in the Dark Age. So it's not like he's not going for militia and still clicking up at the same time. He's adding 2 or 3 more vills compared to a standard build. So those 2 or 3 vills give you resources back. The weakness of the strat is just the fact you're later to archers and spears and whatever else you need. But beyond that, it is definitely the better economic approach. So barracks is on the way. There's the 2 militia for Vinch. Now, what he did in the Inca game is he then went to gold with the mining camp. And he went like 2 militia into a follow-up 2 militia and then man-at-arms. Which I think he'll do because he's just so freaking good at it. We'll see. He goes forward now. Now, he does not know where the opponent is. And he hits a lion. He's probably like, man, I hit 6 tigers in the previous game. What's going on with these maps? Ooh, he actually he placed foundations over the carcass, which actually removes it. That way, if Barles was scouting past that, he wouldn't notice it. That's kind of nice. And here's the eagle. Barracks is about to go up for Barles. Barles spots the militia. And Barles has Loom right now, but this is all Vinch wants. Vinch can still kill a Vill. Even with Loom, Vinch can still be annoying and kill a Vill here. But the TC range is like right next to the mill, so it's pretty risky. And it's actually not what Vinch wants. I always wonder in that situation, is Barles actually confident? Or is he showing confidence by not adding any walls, right? Like if the player starts to like quickly try and wall, you're like, oh yes, I'm doing damage. If they just chill there, you're like, oh shoot. Okay, they have the confidence they can deal with me. I don't know. Yeah, so 22 vills for Vinch, and then he goes up, and it feels like he will add 2 more militia. There's the stable for Barles as the Magyars, to be expected. And he'll want to go for scouts. But still 90 seconds away from the next stage is Vinchester. And it's hard to get a full wall down here when you know there's going to be that scout stopping it, so. So question, there's some Barles fans, I assume from Poland, saying Polska Gorum. What does that translate to? Is that like, let's go? I have no clue what that means. I'm just curious. Is it, I know it means good things for Barles. It's like, let's go Poland, kind of? Okay, go Poland. Okay, good to know. Poland winner is what it translates to. Got it. Okay. Good to know. Thank you. So no kills here with the Drush. In theory, Vinch gave himself a little bit of time. And he certainly distracted Barles. He did not add additional militia. I still think Barles would be fairly happy with this. Not happy with the fact his scouts are home. But it's just best to rid yourself of this pest But he's going to be on 4 scouts, and now Vinchester has to quickly wall up. Now, this has reached the point where 1 spearman is not enough in a group against Magyar scouts. 4 scouts will snipe it all the time. So, Vinchester going to get walls down, heavy walls down. And we even have a range for Barles because he thinks he needs skirms for the spears. He thinks he also is going to need some skirms or any archers, but there's no range for Vinch. I think he'll still make the range at some point, but probably much later. Here comes Barles. Man, if Barles gets in, it's going to be so good for him. I don't think he will, though. Vinchester can see this. Might actually want to save the spear. Maybe he wants the hits. But yeah, that's kind of expected. I think it's actually better to save the spear there, but I don't know. Maybe not that big a deal. But Vinch has collected more resources. What does Barles do now? Always a tricky spot when you're up against the Mayan player and they've walled, because you don't know if they have sneaky archers back there. You see they're on gold, so you would assume there's archers, which means you feel the need to make more range units. I actually think what Barles is doing here is quite smart. Going to gold so you can make your own archers actually gives you more offensive pressure and potential to kill the vills that are just going to be walling behind. So I like it. It does actually mean his eco is a bit worse to get to Castle Age in some ways, because the mining camp is basically a farm and a half in terms of wood, and those villagers aren't on food now. So I like it. I hate it. There's pros and cons to every decision, right? Also like Vinch's position. I mean, he lost 5 units, which isn't great, and he's going to run into a lion. But I mean, he has not really been troubled. But what's he going to make here? Like, it's going to take Vinchester some time. Faster Castle Age into what, Vinchester? Eagles? Can that work? I'm not sure. Here's the archers. Like I said, if this was just skirms, the skirms aren't doing as much. Now that fletching's coming in and it's archers, this actually will kill villagers over time and punish this style from Vinchester. And I think Barles can stay right here. Like, you see that your opponent's on the wood line? Okay, he's not going to stay right here. You can just move here, I guess. That's fine, too. I was thinking you stay here, you're always harassing the wood line, and then you just attack the house once the palisade's down, but we got a market here. Is there not a hole? Yeah, there is a hole here. I don't know, man. This is rough for Vinchester. He's really feeling the pressure right now, and that archer switch from Barles was so good. Vinchester, he's just not given the time here compared to the time he found against Vivi and the time he found in game 1 of this series when he tried this with the Incas. But he is up to Castle Age, or he has just clicked. It has to be Eagles from here. And that's the thing that maybe makes the most sense. And I think Barles should expect that too. He hasn't seen a single ranged unit. He knows the stone's exposed, so there's no risk that this is going to be plumed archers. You are thinking about that here. He hasn't actually... Ooh. Not seeing this stone does maybe leave the idea in his mind that his opponent will have a stone back here and he's going plumes. So it'd actually be a really big deal for Barles to see this. Vinch went plumes in the series in the quarters, and Vinch loves his archers, so... But yeah, Barles is like, pressure, force reactions, swing over to the next area. Pressure, force reactions, swing over to the next area. It's beautiful. It's very well played. And Vinch actually left his base to take this gold. That's crazy. It's actually really smart, though, because you can't be off gold in these instances and still make those eagles. Did Barles see that? Barles did not see that barracks. Barles sold the stone to click up. I like that. He would be up much later otherwise. That's fine with me. He breaks through. I'd be a little curious right now what Vinchester's doing. He doesn't see any stone. He's going to dive here. Vinchester has weak villagers from before. Vinchester goes for quick walls. 20 seconds away from the next stage is Vinch. Barles hoping to do damage before. And all the villagers are getting slaughtered here. That's worth it. This is a throwaway army. This is an army that will die anyways. And Barles kills 3 villagers with it. That was beautiful play. And he found the best types of engagements he could find against the Eagles. 1 more villager goes down. Is it actually 5 villagers went down here? It's going to be 6. 6 villagers go down to that army. Beautiful play from Barles. And I guess Vinch, like, he clearly knew the army was going to come through the gold. But he didn't expect the dive. Either that or felt like he would have enough to deal with it. And suddenly, Mayan economy is supposed to be so much better. This, that, and the other. But I'm not so sure. And it's double range now for Barles. And Barles can go cav archers. And he's walled against Eagles. This could be fine for him, man. This should be fine for him. Really nice play. Vinch just getting punished a little bit for the greed, I think. And, like, I don't know. It just... He never went for archers. Maybe he should have done that this game. Archers behind walls, I think, is still a really good move for the Mayans. Sometimes when your map is too wallable, you're too greedy. I've been there myself many times. Eagle Warrior upgrade on the way. Now, Eagles with max armor in Castle have 5 pierce armor. So they're anti-archer somewhat, but cav archers do 8 damage, so they're still doing 3 damage a hit. So cav archer is actually a really good move. The tricky thing is getting the mass of cav archers. But if you go knights against someone that has 2 barracks, they can just mix in spears, and then you're stuck against the combination. So I like the CA move. It'll take time to get like a real solid mass of them, though. And in the meantime, Vinchester, who has been spotted on this gold, by the way, and immediately leaves. Vinchester is going to drop TC number 2. So Vinch might catch up. Vinch might even be able to snag relics with the monk. Who knows? I think he's expecting a knight to come over to his base or something. I'd be thinking like 2 knights and 10 cav archers would be really difficult for me to fight right now. Are cav archers good enough against eagles and rams? Well, rams are slow. Like later on, max eagles becomes an issue, but you can't think about that right now. In some ways you do, of course, but like this is all about castle age here for the Magyars. Your knights and your cav archers have enough firepower to stop the Mayans. Nice job from Vinch. When he was spotted, I mean, it was a nice job from Barles to spot the gold, but he knew he had to immediately leave that gold and go back to the other, which he did. These eagles haven't been found. Still no second TC for Barles, which is to be expected when he makes so much army, but I think he needs to buy the stone. There he goes. There's the TC. Perfect. Vinchester defending with scorpions. Vinchester has some monks around. Vinchester's TC's up on the stone. Vinchester with the villager lead. Well, no. Sorry, I can't math, but soon. Very, very soon. Cav archers see the Vil. Get the kill there. The loop right through. I love the thinking there from Barles. Is he keeping an eye on this? Vinchester is. Barles distracted at the moment. He killed another Vil there. Oof, that's a heavy loss, though. You really have to preserve the mass. Like, right now, you're trying to split groups, but eventually what this turns into, as the monk actually converts the... Wow, the monk actually converted the cav archer there, but eventually you want that big ball. And he struggled, Barles. He's at 10 cav archers again. He was there 2 minutes ago. So he's got to get that number back up. Vinch is soon going to place a castle here. Vinch loves the second TC on stone. He did that. Actually, every game that he's won, he built the second TC on stone. That's actually really interesting. I guess in the Slavs game, he actually built the second and third at the same time. So, but pretty much like right away in Castle Age, he TC'd on stone, which a lot of players are not doing. It's definitely a Vinch style. 51 Vils apiece. Oh, he's also has a TC here, so 3 TCs for him. No relics yet for Vinch. He's kept his monks and scorpions at home. It's tough for a player to have confidence without map control to move out and snag the relics. You'd see, like, Viper, like, just YOLOing monks to get relics right now. I think it's worth it, but Vinch is worried that if he doesn't have the monks, his scorpions won't be protected. He's probably dealing with this right now. Yeah, but this army is going to eventually die, it feels like. If Ballistics was in, the Eagles would already be dead. And, yeah, Vinchester trying to keep Barles busy in this position. And so these Cav Archers can't come over to his base. Resources collected. 1,200 more resources for Barles. Siege Workshop now as well. And Vinch is going to drop a castle here. See, that's interesting, right? It's like, I think Cav Archer Mangonel is really good against what Vinch is doing if Vinch isn't on stone. And now that Vinch is this castle to kind of protect this stone to get more stone, he might actually go plumes long term. Plumed Archer is a great unit for Vinchester. It's just so fun to watch Vinchester control plumes. There might not be as many things that are fun in this game as watching the guy with plumed archers. See, now Barles sees this, and you add the siege, and you see a castle, you're usually like, oof. This limits my ability to push the front now. So now you're choosing two very different areas. You're choosing this area, which is also going to be tough. Or you're choosing this area, which is just awkward, right? If anything, the siege might be needed in defense, but I like the outpost for Barles just to know what's coming to his base, because it's been kind of quiet. Excuse me. Vinchester knows the CA are over there. Oh, man, and the Scorpions. Scorpions, a very high number there. Mangonel would be extremely useful. Vinchester made one plume, but no fletching. No bodkin. I think he'll still drop castles in positions to keep himself safe. I think he's about to drop one here. But, like, it definitely feels like he wants to go for Elite Eagle here. I still actually think full plumed archer is really underrated. Like, plume halb might actually be way better than eagles here. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. The scorpions. Barles sees the scorpions. Vinchester is not expecting siege. He never saw the siege workshop. Like, maybe he is, right? Maybe he's got the eagles around, but there's been no indicators from him that there's going to be siege. And the scorpions are stacked, dude. Stacked on top of each other. Oh, this is so bad for Vinch. Oh! Boom! This is awful for Vinchester. This is exactly what Barles needs. The Mangonel is going to go down to scorpions? Actually, all the scorpions were weakened by that shot, though. I guess it could have been worse for Vinchester. That's still really good engagement for Barles. That's fine. And Barles will be happy with that. This gives Barles a lot of time. And it's just, again, a little bit of greed from Vinch. He's trying to skip steps here, which Mayans can do. But there is a risk. He didn't want to engage much in Feudal. Rush to Castle. Didn't want to engage much in Castle. Rushing to Imp. It is where the Mayans excel, though. Nice job from Barles to find damage. I didn't think that'd be achievable. Look at the vision right now. This is so good, guys. Like, I'm actually ever so slightly disappointed he's playing with Outpost so heavily here because I am making a video soon. It's on my list of, like, 6 things I still haven't done. About, like, things I think pros need to do more. Outpost is definitely one of them. People do it now more than ever, but still, it has to happen more. Stonewalls. Next thing on the list. Barles is a gamer. He knows he needs to, like, funnel all the fights in towards one area, or at least know what's going to be happening, because Eagles could be a real disaster for him. All right, so let's math it out here, okay? El Dorado Eagles, 100 HP, 8 Pierce Armor. The Cav Archers for the Magyars do 7 plus 5 attack. That's 12 damage. So they're doing 4 damage a hit. Now I'm trying to think. I say let's map it out. Math it out. I really mean you guys math it out. How many Cav Archers with recurve bow do you need to be comfortable? I just knocked over my glass of water. Oh, it was half empty. We're fine. Like, how many Cav Archers with recurve bow do you need here? Someone says 25, 25 hits. 25 hits. 25 hits! That's a lot of hits, man. But that's a lot of cav archers. Recurve bow adds +1 attack and +1 range to the cav archers. But you also need heavy cav archer. You also need bracer. You also need chemistry. Tough to afford. I love this little wall. I love the outpost here. That's going to be really annoying for Vinch if cav archers can range that gold. I think Vinch is trying to click units here, and it's pathing awkwardly, and he doesn't really know how to deal with that. Vinch is not going to have the Eagle Mass here, guys. Cav archers could actually work. You need so many upgrades for the Eagles as well, right? There will be no surprises here. Barles is stonewalling the back. Heavy cav. It's still not even elite Eagle for Vinchester. It's funny. I think if Barles isn't playing like a god, what Vinch is trying to do to split positions with the Eagles is great. But because Barles can see everything, it's actually hurting him here. Because Barles can get easy kills. And there will be no surprises. Now, there is a Treb here for Vinchester. Elite Eagle's finally on the way. He does have full armor, so it'll go up to the 8 Pierce armor. El Dorado is pretty expensive. And Vinch still doesn't have, like, long-term gold secured. This gold is his. He cannot take it. This gold he's uncomfortable taking. You need recurve bow barrels. I like the Magyar Hussars to snipe the Trebs. They have a bonus against siege, but if Vinch is paying attention to that, he can just hop out with the Eagles to kill those. Barles, you need recurve bow. And then I think you need, like, recurve bow, cav archer, cavalier. Barles just now getting ballistics, actually. Yep, there go the Eagles. Not having ballistics kind of hurts the castle fire here, and 40 seconds away from El Dorado is Vinchester, but what a good spot there from Barles. Wedges his CA in there. Can Vinch afford more Eagles? Honestly, there's a hole! There's a hole! Vinchester's running around to drop a castle there. What? What in the world? He must be so confused why his units are pathing there. He didn't know about the walls until now. Okay, so there's a hole there. Recurve bow still not in. The Magyar Hussars show up to take the Trebs, though. Can Barles do that? Will the Magyar Hussars be enough? They are enough. Barely, I think. Treb goes down to the CA. But, oh, this is so annoying, man. And now El Dorado's in. So, great job from Barles to snipe the Trebs. If he didn't snipe the Trebs, he's in trouble. But now, the very thing he wanted to avoid, Eagles running into his eco, is happening. Because there was a hole here, and he just didn't realize that there was that one singular gap. Vinch could still take golds. Vinch now, because the Eagles are being chased, can push the castle in the middle here, guys. So he's able to push the castle in the middle. No recurve bow. So he's doing 3 damage a hit against 100 HP Eagles. It's just so tough. Oh, man. And now Vinchester is spreading out. He's really expanding. He's going to raid different areas. And poor Barles has got to be thinking, should I have gone Cav Archer? Like, was this the play for me? What could I have done differently? If these houses go down and the Eagles get in, it's disaster mode. He's one big ball of Cav Archers that has to be in 3 different spots. The worst possible scenario for you. And Vinchester's patience was all for this moment. Barles, though, not giving up. Using the Magyar Hussar to snipe another Treb. So his castle still stands. But the Eagles are in, guys. Vinch actually has 0 on gold right now. But he's got 40 Eagles. This is crazy. These Eagles are just too tough to kill. They're unstoppable. They can take out the castle themselves. Who even needs trebuchets? There is a Treb. It might die. But where's the eco for Barles now? Vinchester is well and truly everywhere. This castle as well just allows him to push this area so nicely. And Vinchester's killed 60 villagers over the last few moments. He still has 30 Eagles. He just sold off wood and food to get more gold for more Eagles. What a disaster for Barles. Oh, man. It is wild. Like, he's still got the score lead because of all the kills he's gotten on the Eagles. And maybe because of the amount of attacks. Maybe scouting, maybe other things. But the areas he wanted to control down here, no longer viable to control. And once the middle castle falls, this thing isn't killing Eagles anymore. Vinch can take the gold, and it just gets worse. I will say, I really liked the idea behind how Barles played this with the walls and the outposts. I think it was unfortunate there was a hole here. That changed the game. Mayans are also Mayans, you know? Like, they're really good. They're really tough to stop. I think they, you know, just have the tools to really handle the Magyars. And don't tell me Barles keeps the castle up again. Crazy. But his resources are really at the limit. And Vinch has killed 75 Vills. And he can take gold everywhere now. I think Vinch needs to stop running in with one treb. Like, stop trickle trebbing, wait till you have 3, and that castle's down next time. But, you know, there's a lot of things he's focusing on at the moment. Easier to just toss the treb in, toss army in, repeat. See, Barles now is like, oh, shoot, he's going to be on these golds. I can't allow that. Let's send a unit over there. Vinch sees it. Vinch knows. So those cav archers won't kill many Vills there. And Barles can't make trebs because it'll get sniped. So he's just, like, relying on the CA mass. I don't know if he lost because of the hole. But, like, if he didn't have this hole, I don't know where Vinch chooses to castle. Maybe Vinch would have castled down here anyways. Like, on these golds. But Vinch was, like... He sent 20 Vills forward. And they might have been 20 Vills to their death. If they didn't have anywhere to run. He did not scout that this was walled at all. And there we go, Vinch. 4th time's the charm. That's smart. Barles made Vinch a better player. Vinchester just gates it up. Says, what are you going to do now? And Barles is distracted here. Will go for the gates, actually, and is using the cav archers against the Vills. Really impressive stuff, but it's still enough resistance to hold. Recurve bow! Let's go, baby! Recurve! But you're recurve bowing after you've lost 100 Vills. And your castle's gonna fall. And Vinchester has full map control. And Vinchester still has 40 Eagles. And I'm not even certain, like, even if he could have gotten recurve bow, is recurve bow CA? I mean, they're shredding the Eagles. But is that really the unit you want? Because the Eagles can still split up, and the cav archers still can only be in one spot. I don't know. So, a big bounce back game from Vinch, it's looking like anyways. Unless he runs out of gold. How much gold is left on the map? 10,000 still, and he's on most of it. So I don't think that's going to be a concern at all for Vinch. Oh, man, these two Eagles were here earlier. They were there a long time ago, and they're paying off now. That'll be 15 or so Vill kills. And castle finally falls for Barles. It's so annoying, man. Like, I'm a cav archer guy. I love cav archers. I hate these situations where you have a nerdy player like Vinchester splitting up so many different groups. But that's precisely how you need to play with, like, Hussar, Cavalier, and Eagle is different groups. And Mayans also have fantastic skirmishers. And Vinchester's now going to think about that. But I do think it's maybe not something he necessarily even has to do at this point. He probably could just continue with the Eagles. What a semi-final, guys. What a semi-final. What a tournament this has been. Again, personally, very disappointed that of all times to get sick, I got upset during this tournament, which has had so many upsets. But, like, Hera losing to Sato. Barles... Or ACCM going down to Barles. Vinchester beating MBL. Barles beat Mihai, who had beaten Viper 4-3. Right? Sebastian's in the second semi. He took out Leary. Vinchester beat Vivi, who had beaten Mr. Yo. So many crazy players going down. And the players who remain standing in this tournament are showing you why. They're playing insanely well. But, yeah, this is, Barles doesn't want to give it up. He's got his recurve bow now. But he's down to 78 vills. It did finally clear up these eagles. You guys want to see a new feature for Capture Age? Watch this group of eagles here. Actually, let's do group of cav archers because they're going to die. Watch what happens when they die. You see how the stat remains for the group? So, obviously, more CA will die. Maybe a bad time to show you. Basically, what that means is it keeps the kill count for the group, right? So, like, if I had selected a group of cav archers way earlier in the game, it would show you the remaining kill count for that group, which is kind of nice in, you know, some situations. But, man, the walls from Barles, the idea there, I felt it showed promise. But Mayans just Mayaning, which is a pretty dumb way to say it. And Vinch knew, dude. Vinch knew. Vinch was greedy for a reason. Once he got to El Dorado Elite Eagle, he just steamrolled this game. Really well played from Vinch. I think Barles, though, has played well, and he's going to need a win to get him back on track to tie up this series and then take it from there. Obviously, cannot lose another game here, Barles, or he's out here in the semifinals. Nice job, Vinchester. 66,000 resources collected versus 50,000. What in the world there? Total villagers in that game, 206 for Barles. So he went over 200 total villagers in that game because he needed to make so many more. He lost 133 vills that game and only killed 18. So interesting to note, and I think it's always important in these sets to bring it up, that Vinchester's still saving his best civilization for last. Barles has kind of used his top picks, but he's gone for Bohemians here, saving Lithuanians most likely, or Franks for game number 7. We have Koreans for Vinchester, and Koreans, kind of an atypical pick for Arabia, but so are Bohemians. So, I think that both these civs kind of lean more towards archer play. Koreans, maybe the better archer civilization here, though, because you get the free armor upgrade on your archer unit. So this could be a pretty decent matchup. Also, any unit that costs wood is discounted, which would be skirmisher, archer. The best friend for Barles here is going to be the market. He's going to go to the market early. He's going to go to the market frequently. Your eco bonus with the Bohemians is the free mining upgrade. So very frequently you'll see them play archers and then go for gold. Now, hold on. Someone says both Phosphoru. Bohemians could Phosphoru. Would Barles Phosphoru? I don't think Barles will Phosphoru. That's a great idea, though. Koreans are actually... They're one of the... They're like, okay, of all the 45 civs we have, they're doable for the Phosphoru. But I don't think they're near as good as Bohemians or, like, Portuguese. I'd be shocked if Vinchester tries it. But they both have started to take the wood line next to their gold. And both do have mining bonuses. So they could mine stone. Someone says, what is Phosphoru? I have, like, a dozen videos on Phosphoru strats. So I would suggest you cancel all your plans for the evening. After these semifinals, just binge watch away, my friend. Basically, it's a fast castle build. Usually relying on wood and gold, but it does depend. So, but yeah, really fun stuff. Like, if you don't know Phosphoru, it's kind of like if someone didn't... It's like if you didn't watch the first couple seasons of Game of Thrones until now, and you still got to experience that for the first time. Or I don't know, whatever show people think is fantastic. But yeah, neither player doing the build. Phosphor is basically a fast castle build. Yes and no. It has different elements, but it is a fast... It is oftentimes a fast castle build. It depends. There's Sicilian ones where you can be aggressive and feudal, but... Yes, basically it is naked, fast castle, into unique unit. I saw a Reddit post this morning And someone said, what is naked FC in AoE 2? And why do people keep saying it? Why do people keep talking about being naked all the time? Well, who cares how many clothes I have on? Who's judging me? Yeah, so they were very confused. Naked basically means you just basically don't make a lot of defense or a lot of army and go fast castle, so. Trap potential? Quick gate? Nope. Okay. So, yeah, range units is what I expect. I don't know. A lot of players do still like to go for scouts because you can be more aggressive with scouts. Main difference here is 1 lumber camp approach for Vinchester, and then 2 lumber camp approach for Barles, which is a bit more economic, but can be a bit tougher to afford your buildings on time. Which seems like it'll be an issue for him here. I don't think he's going to have the range right away. Actually, the barracks could be denied as well. But Vinchester didn't see that. And, ooh. Vinchester being very active with his scout here. He's trying to fake as if he's going to drush, I think. Uh-oh. Will Vinch attack that? Looks like he chooses not to. Barles is bringing another villager. Anyways, okay. Barles scouting, sees the stable. All right. And Barles just adds the spear for now. We'll see if he goes for a building at all. Maybe he just plays spear defense here. He does go for the range. Nothing on gold, so probably not archers. But maybe we'll still just make some skirms anyways, which people are happy with doing these days. And Barles attacking the house, showing he's still on point. Annoying Vinchester. Sometimes you get the attack signal at a time where you're not really expecting it, and you kind of go, huh? And so those things, tiny little things players can do, as we now have a range for Vinch. Now Vinch is thinking right now that it's just spear defense for Barles. He doesn't know that Barles has the range yet. And he still will not have that information. Might expect it, but... What is a T90? Haven't played for some time. I don't have any answers there. I'll let chat respond to what I am. And I'm not going to read it because it might hurt my feelings. Barles sees it. Barles knows this is coming. Should be okay. Yep. Nice micro there from Barles to pull the villager away. No walls needed. And spear skirm from Barles. Scout skirm from Vinch. Vinch wants to tower here, which Koreans are known for, but they get stronger with the tower in castle. They don't have any tower bonuses in this age. And I just don't think that Vinch knew that there were skirms at all. That doesn't necessarily mean that what he's trying to do won't work, but he can't advance forward as easily. He killed off the spear, though, from Barles. And here come the Vills. There's more spears. There's more skirms coming. Barles might have enough to make this awkward enough for Vinch to back away. That's really good for Barles. That's a lot of walking time for Vinch. But maybe Vinch is still going to commit to this. This gets really micro-intensive here for both players. Barles will try and play Skirm v Skirm, and then Vinch will try and play Skirm v Spear. And here come the Vills. Okay, so what do you do here, guys? Do you counter tower if you see it? If Vills are coming forward, I think you immediately need to research Town Watch so you know what's happening. He does not see that towers going up. That's a good tower for Vinchester, I feel. It's a really good position to have with Koreans. Is Barles fielding the pressure down 3-2. With Vinchester being the aggressor here. Until they focused a lot more on army control than maybe some other times in games where they've been more walled because the idle TC time is higher. It's been a long series. I've been recording for 2 hours and 45 minutes. They've taken no breaks. Exhausting to think about, but the tower's now up. Now, the tower is a good tower. Barles has another woodline. The thing, though, is long-term, this becomes a guard tower. That's what's so great about that tower. And for now, it harasses the woodline. Villagers will finish the trees and then go to the other trees underneath the tower. Barles has not lost any villagers, though. He's closing in on the skirms from Vinch. He has a lot of spears, enough where maybe he'll have enough spears left over to always deal with the scouts. Yeah, this is going to be good. Nice clear up there from Barles. And those scouts have to separate themselves from the skirms. But yeah, this type of stuff, I call it chip damage. It kind of picks away at you over time and can really add up. And there's no spears here for Barles. And Barles is going to lose a Vil. Nice job from Vinch. All the spears were protecting the skirms. And Vinch is going to build another tower. You have to counter tower this one. Barles was patient before. You have to counter tower this one. You cannot give up this area to Koreans. Oh, I'm so shocked. A spearman there. Vinch will kill it. The scouts are here. This is amazing for Vinch. And Barles has army. He has more army than Vinch, but it's just in different areas right now. And Barles still thinks that he could take this gold. You probably need to take this gold right now. Vinchester's going to come in with another tower. Now, villagers also have Hunt in their hands. Now, Vinch is committing a lot to Feudal. It's not like he's going to be Castle Age anytime soon. And there's still a lot more army for Barles. So, with slightly better engagements, Barles can end up freeing himself of this position and battering down these towers with villagers. It's only in Castle Age that's not an option. Vinch might just want to give up on that tower, deletes it. Yeah, just send the Vils home, Vinch. I feel like... Or I guess just, you know, make a lumber camp forward. But yeah, if you hold this position in Castle Age, that's exactly where you want to be. Barles towers to stone. Will continue to mine stone. Can still take gold. And I expected a market in this game from Barles because of the mining of Bohemians. He really needs that soon. If you can get Siege out to push down a tower or two before they're upgraded, it could be huge here. He's had to make a lot of spears and a lot of skirms here. Close game, man. These guys have both played so good, man. It really... I hope people are appreciating it. How good these guys have played. Not only in the tourney, but also just these games. It's been so good. Like, no game has been lost because someone made heavy misplays. Any time that someone has had quote-unquote mistakes, it's been forced mistakes. The opponent's moves have forced those issues. In this case, Vinchester has taken a lot of map control. But Barles has still kind of soaked up the pressure a little bit. He might have a plan. I actually wouldn't hate Hussite wagons. I don't know how Hussite wagons do against war wagons, but... certainly, like, early Castle Age, Hussite wagon's probably superior unit. You might have a wagon duel. If we have a wagon duel, should I play wagon wheel? Ooh, here's a fun little test. And someone please clip this. Okay, chat. Whose song is Wagon Wheel? Whose song is that? I'm waiting. This is very important. Okay. What are people going to say? A lot of Darius Ruckers in chat. Okay. There are a couple people saying Old Crow Medicine Show. But we got a lot of Darius Ruckers. We had a lot of Old Crows. I respect you. So basically, one of my good friends is... his favorite song is Wagon Wheel. And he hates that people think Darius Rucker made that song. Because Darius Ruckers was a cover. And so... with me asking you... and then people saying Darius Rucker, which a lot of people tend to do, don't feel bad. If somebody clips that, I can send that to him. I believe he's on his honeymoon at the moment. And I would love nothing more than to just ruin his honeymoon, letting him know that dozens of people think it was Darius Rucker. But I will maintain that Darius Rucker's version is really good. It is really good. Some covers are just solid, you know? Oh, man, that tower is up. This is such a rough position. What can I even suggest to Barles right now? This is tough. The KD's pretty even this game. These towers, though, will only become stronger. He's heavy on stone to drop a castle. Might get a castle slightly before Vinchester. Would be interesting. Vinchester has basically no defense, so, like...
It's really interesting if Barles actually chooses to counterattack right now. Guard tower's in. Bodkin arrow should be researched as well, and I think this gold will start to get ranged. Vinch goes for a forward siege workshop. Interesting. So I think Vinch is thinking... Oh, Vinch didn't even have fletching this whole time. Wow. I think that Vinch might go defensive castle, forward siege. And wow, there's a castle now for Barles. Well... The castle will actually... Oof. I know it will range this tower. I think it ranges this tower. That's not bad. Vinch is going to drop another tower here, realizing that. Hussite wagons. Could be really strong. Imp is not an option here. They don't have the resources for that. Second TC now for Vinch to add more vills. Makes sense. Still pretty exposed at home. If there's wagons rolling into his eco, things will get really annoying. But Vinch should have really good vision on all this. And mangonels are great against everything that Barles is going to be sending forward. Now, once you get to like 5 or so wagons, they kill off mangonels with proper micro. So then it changes, but they still do bonus damage against siege. Let's see. Is this tower rangeable? Wow, that's really cool play from Barles. Really relaxed play. To still take this gold and still take this stone. He hasn't completely dealt with the threat. Vinchester losing some of his scouts. All of his scouts. Barles now on TC number 2. Barles getting fervor, which affects villagers and monks with the Bohemians. And I think you could make solid arguments that Vinchester's position will be more awkward than Barles' in a couple moments because of the wagons. Rock me mama like a Hussite wagon. It doesn't quite have the same ring to it, but hey. We'll see. Maybe maybe someone can do a cover for us. I don't know. Anyone remember the Please Send Me Champions Miguel song from years back? It's a classic. Maybe we could play that in between the sets. Repairs for the siege. Like I said, the wagons, they still do a ton of damage against the siege, which is supposed to be their counter. 2 wagons do go down, though, which might not be worth it. Vinchester with army headed towards his base that he needs defense for, and he is going to drop a tower there on that gold. I wonder if it's worth just sitting underneath that tower and being a pest if you're Barles. I would probably consider it. But I'm used to losing units. Barles doesn't want to do that. Vinchester still holding this hill and hasn't built a castle at home. Sends the siege home now. So it seems to me like if the siege is going to defend his base and he still has the forward position that maybe a castle could go up. But do you really want a castle position you already have? Castling here and going imp would be sick. Imp is a pretty long way away right now. Oh, man, those skirms are really wedged up against the edge of the map there. That is a dangerous, dangerous position for those skirms. You can tell they're scared, too, with the way they're walking. They're walking a little clenched. Wow, that's where Vinch wants to castle. It's interesting, right? Because, again, like a castle here could be great, but you already have this position. Players are going to want more. Oh, man, the Hussite wagons now encounter knights. Oh, all this army's going to go down for Barles. It's all dead. Yikes. Oh! Barles is going to castle the same hill Vinch wants to castle. Vinch will not get that castle up. That's wild. Okay, abort that mission. Pretty much spot on the same exact situation there. I wonder if Barles notices that too. If those vills are there, you know your opponent's going to castle, and you might think he's going to fast imp with a castle on this hill now. We did miss all the skirmishers dying. They dispersed, though. There was no big shots that we missed. Barles is going to click imp. Barles knows. I know he's behind in vills. He can't take any of this map. I have all the faith in Barles to win this game and take it to a game 7. He knows. I have no doubt in my mind that he knows this is an imp race now. And Bohemians may be better there. Couple wagons still going to move in. Skirm's kind of forgotten about this game for both of them. Neither player getting a lead skirm. And Barles is idling his TCs and he clicks up. Wow. The game sense, man. I think he had that sense after seeing Vinch's castle. Or at least castle attempt. And so now what you can do, again, if everything's going perfectly anyways, you drop a university, you go for chemistry while you're on the way up, which only you can do. You've got 2 castles. So in theory, if chemistry's in and you have 2 castles, you can go double treb and a bombard cannon. You will always win the position in the middle again. Now, Koreans can, like, Vinch has the better eco, so he can afford to make other things. And then also Vinchester can, in theory, do some other things, like use the towers to outrange bombard cannons, right? But even the Trebor alone could be a problem, I'd say. Mangonels go down there for Vinch. This Mangonel survives. Nice save there from Vinchester. I like the addition of the knight there from Barles. Chemistry's on the way. It's an interesting situation because Vinchester's economy seems superior, at least in build numbers, but how much will that change if he loses this hill? That changes everything. All of his... Whatever the Vil advantage he has is going to disappear to potentially, like, Hussite wagons and bombard cannons. Or monks, actually. Monks actually become very strong here because the opponents... It's basically going to be wagons and siege, very expensive, slow units. And Barles getting redemption now, too. This is sick. Really well played. I wonder what Vinchester could have done slightly differently here. I can't think of much. I really can't. Maybe earlier upgrades on the towers or something, but he really has good vision here. Like, the whole idea to hold this control with the Koreans has been solid. He needs to hold now. That's what he needs. But we've got double treb from Barles and a bombard cannon. I wanted to see, where can Barles take stone right now? Okay, so he does still have this stone back here. That's not bad then. Because with lack of map control, you would think that maybe he can't take the stone. He even stonewalled this too. And the monks have block printing now, so the war wagons can always be converted. Koreans aren't really a raiding civ, so I don't think there's a huge concern that the Korean player is going to go, like, many knights or hussars to raid you. The war wagon was converted. And here, Hussite wagons and a monk being annoying for Barles. He did go for the tower first and not the castle. That's fine. He's still going to have the advantage in the treb numbers and the bombard cannons. And here he converts the Mangonel with that monk. And the Mangonel actually gets great value against the skirms too. And the Hussite wagons are just got to killing everything. Killing Vils, killing skirms. Monk wagon is so strong. First treb will be on the way for Vinch. He just finished his chemistry, so just now he can make bombard cannons when Barles is about to have 2. Just the value that Barles has been able to get with a couple wagons and the monk has been fantastic. These archers will aim to kill a monk and maybe be lured into the castle. This castle's starting to go down. Barles is playing great. He's playing great. This monk is ready for more conversions again. Castle in the middle about to go down. Now, what the textbook play would be, what you really want here for your Barles, is the second this goes down, you're pushing the middle with some army and your own castle to take the hill. That's how you win the game right away. Might not be achievable, though. Nice job from Vinch. He actually killed the monk so he wouldn't lose the Mangonel. Still, the Hussite wagons are so annoying. They still do so much damage against siege. I think Barles, the idea of Monk Cannon is great. His eco is actually good enough where he could also go for skirms, though. I think that's just something you have to consider. Or actually, no, take it back. Just make Hussite wagons against the enemy skirms. That's all you need. Hussite wagons can't be stopped now. Yeah, the siege is neutralized because you have monks. Just make wagons, yeah. And he's got plenty of wood, plenty of gold anyways. Vinchester's looking for options. He doesn't know what to do. I don't know what to suggest to him. Except for, like, don't engage against this and go over here. Remember, for Vinch fans that are really nervous right now, he did save his best civ for Game 7. He chose not to play it here. So there's still that in mind. But, I mean, Game 7's going to have some nerves, man. And civs matter, but civs aren't everything. That's how you play the games, and these guys both have played exceptionally well. Barles knows now that Vinch is making a play for this castle. And he sends over a couple Hussite wagons. And he has his own bombard cannon here. And he's paying attention to it. And Vinch is going to lose his trebs. And lose his bombard cannon. Over here, he lost his wagons to conversions. Here, he's losing the front of his base. Vinch is falling apart. And it must be frustrating for Vinch. He's like, make some army, bro. Stop making monks and wagons and siege. Make some actual army. This is an arena. Vinch tries to take the bombard cannon. Barles on point with the repairs. Bombard cannon goes down, but now the monks can convert that cannon too. Yeah, I actually think pure Hussite wagon is actually the best unit right now. Still have some like minor weaknesses against bombard cannons, but you can... 10 wagons counters 25 arbs and skirms. And Vinchester... just as we expected, he's lost the front of his base, and however many more villagers he's had has not really played a role in this game. Still playing so well, though. Like, look at that. Like, Vinch is still giving himself great opportunities. It's crazy. But it's time to pay the piper. It's time to face the music. Things get really bad for here from Vinchester. He's going to lose this hill now. That was his Siege Workshop making bombard cannons. He doesn't actually have another one. And we actually have Hoofnitsa on the way for Barles. He's just converted a cannon there. That is an expensive upgrade. But why not? And I don't think Elite Hussite Wagon is usually the play in these games. You don't really need it, right? It's a unit that's 160 HP with 10 attack and is crazy high Pierce Armor. Just spend your resources on other things. The unit's good enough as is. It is a great support unit. Over here, another bombard cannon. Vinchester. Vinchester. Send the arbs. Send the arbs. Oh, it's going to get converted. Wait, here's a question. If you convert a bombard cannon and then upgrade to Hoofnitsa, does it upgrade to Hoofnitsa? Probably not, right? Skirmisher raid. It probably doesn't because any unit you convert shouldn't get new upgrades. But I never really thought about that instance. You can't stop this. And now we have Elite Hussite Wagon as well. This is over. We're going to a Game 7 here in this semifinal. Vinchester's population is just going to get worse and worse and worse here. I love the forward TC from Barles, so he can always have new vills around. Hoofnitsa's in. There's a big shot. And as if the Arbalests were good enough anyways. Even if they were, now the numbers aren't there. And Vinch probably happy that he's still got that Civ remaining, but well aware that this is going to go down to the wire. I really liked Vinch's opening. It's just the play from Barles was so calm. So many people would have panicked against, like, in the moment, and then up against so much pressure. Barles, 1, 2, 3 conversions? He gets 2. 2 conversions. About to be 3 conversions. And Vinchester is, yeah, he's toast. GG. What a great series, man. What a series. And like the mental fortitude from Barles against the towers, against Koreans, being down 3-2 in a semi. Just insane, man. Resources collected was extremely close, but the value from the fights and the conversions from Barles was just better the whole damn game. I could never see an instance where I thought Vinchester's army was actually good. I thought initially that Koreans could be great against Bohemians if Bohemians play out standard into archers, because Koreans could go skirms. However, how do you stop the Hussite wagons? Like the Hussite wagon monk play is just really strong. I think the weakness of the strategy that Barles went for, or the units that Barles went for, is it's hard to get there. But once he got there, he played amazing. And the thing is too, guys, he had good economy, good upgrades. He wasn't just like one-tricking with OP units. Like he played the game in other facets as well. And again, we have our game 7 coming up. So will be interesting. I think it's either Lithuanians or Franks for Barles, which is great for Arabia. Will most likely be Malians then for Vinchester. I'd be shocked if he doesn't end up going for Malians here. All right, so game number 7. It all comes down to this, guys. And there was some debate on what Barles would go for. Some people think Franks, other people think Lithuanians. I think they're fairly similar civs in their strengths with stable units. I personally, I understand the Lithuanian pick because you have other things too. You have the speedy skirms and spears, you have the faster working monasteries, and you have the knights. Eco might not be quite as smooth as the Franks, but I think players can get the job done with Lithuanians just as easily. Not a bad civ for Barles, but in terms of his priority, it was later. Vinchester's #1 pick, #1 civ, was the Malians, and he saved this. He could have gone for it in game 6. Chose to play it here in game 7. Big woodlines here. Big woodlines here on this generation. And this should lead to a lot more walling than we've seen in other games. Vinchester really likes his walls, but Barles tends to play pretty good with walls as well. So doesn't mean we won't see aggression, but it's like aggression into walling will be more of the thinking than the Huns Khmer game we had, at least. So Malians are great. I mean, I don't think Lithuanians are too far off, but why is Malians first pick? Because they collect gold a bit faster, all their wood buildings are discounted, and like every building you build in this game costs wood. They've got great archers for Castle Age. The Gabetto is strong in some rare instances, and the camels and the knights are still strong options for you. We haven't actually seen any laming this tournament. Sorry, not tournament. That would be false. This series. And I just really remembered that was a possibility because Barles showed up here. So I think he'll probably just consider going back home now after he sees Vinchester knows he's there. Players are rarely going to get away with anything except for maybe a couple sheep. Yeah, it's true. Vinchester played Malians against MBL's Lithuanians in their set in the earlier rounds. That's a fair point. Vinch wants to win the Scout War, but he also wants to push in the Ostrich. And Barles is not letting him push it. And Barles is going to push it back. All right. That's not bad. I like that. Lithuanians start with the extra 100 food, so you don't really need to push in as many deer in theory. I think Barles also used his sheep to scout this. I would expect, with the big woodlines and Vinchester's playstyle, I would expect the barracks every single time. Vinchester's love to add the militia in this series and this whole tournament. But Barles, I don't know if he expects it because he has not checked this. He hung around for a bit to see if the Ostrich would move. It didn't. And now Vinch looking for his opponent here. Could run into the TC. There's no house here. But he sees the stone. He's thinking. He looked for indicators. Okay, house is safe. No one's going to house next to the TC. Deer is also moving, or ostrich, moving this way. So you know the TC is probably that direction. But Woodline has not been scouted. Berries have not been scouted as of yet, and here come the militia now. Vinch also placed a palisade wall over that to remind him that the lion's there. But again, Barles does not know about this. Barles is trying to go fast up for scouts. He does not know that this is coming. Vinch, what are we... Why are you killing the zebra? Actually, Barles can't see the zebra was killed. That's interesting. But wait. He will see, unless Vinch does the trick. Well, he sees nothing. Okay. But, like, he would actually see the carcass. And elephants don't spontaneously die in this game. So, there would be a reason for that. I think Barles saw this. And yeah, maybe expected it just because his opponent is kind of has shown his hand many times. Vinchester going for the big walls. And every time he's been able to get the walls behind a drush, he has won. The Mayan game, he won. The Inca game, he won. This villager's exposed, though. Oh, how's your quick walls? 3 hours into the series. How's your quick walls here, Vinch? It better be good, because that Vill's going to die. Nothing else is happening over here. How's your quick walls, Vinch? Okay. Interesting. No quick wall attempt there from Vinchester. That's a villager pick from Barles. Barles would be very happy with that. And Vinchester's greed. Getting a little bit punished. Again, you can full wall, but that's resources invested into it. Villager time invested into that. It should be worse for your economy. Also, a big spear hit would be amazing. Oh! It's a Lithuanian spear. Vinch, can you do this? No. What's faster? The spear's actually slightly faster. That was really funny, though. Little ring around the rosy. And Vinch really doesn't want to lose that scout. Vinch just now clicks up to Feudal Age. He's going to stone. What? Is he going to try Fast Castle Gabetto? It was not a stable opening for Barles. It was a range opening so he can pressure with archers. A decision that I think is really wise against the walls. Lithuanian's not really known for that, and Barles has been checking the time, and he's like, wait a second, he's still not up. I see he's on stone now, so he's gonna try something crazy. I don't know if Vinch can really afford to go easy fast castle here, though. Like, I think this might just be tower defense and stabilize mode. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. Nice quick walls there from Barles. Excuse me. Someone says it might be a dumb question, but can the players see what civ the other guy is picking before the game starts? No, they can't. There's hidden civs. It's a lobby setting, so for tournaments, it's obviously hidden. They will know, like, obviously what's available on the draft, but you don't know until you're in the game what civ your opponent's gone for. Let's see. There's the first tower. See, I think instinctively you're thinking counter tower here. But there's some concerns I have with the counter tower. Vinch gonna desperately toss up some more walls here. I don't know, guys. It's a big risk for game number 7 with your number 1 civ pick, but I think he saw the map and felt like it was just too easy for him to try this. Oof, loses the scout. He already knows what he needs to know, though. So he knows his opponent's going archers. He knows his opponent's going tower. He knows where his opponent has resources. The early fletching is going to give Vinch some problems. But you can always pull away the weak vills back to your TC. And it should be expected that Vinch wouldn't lose vills here. Barles might choose to dive. Right, because he's going to think Vinch is up. Vinch is up, wow. And Barles may take a risk and run past the TC or something along those lines here with his archers. So Vinch got caught out before by that type of play. He needs to be very aware that that's something his opponent might go for here. And another tower now for Barles. Now, Vinch doesn't want to waste any stone on a counter tower, but if this tower goes up, you lose 2 of your farms. And it may be positioned for Barles to push from. But I think the position... if you need food, you should be expected to just buy it at this point. You got to save your stone. Barles will have to be careful not to get trapped here. Because there might be a temptation to stay in here with another tower. But Vinch right now, I think he would end up dropping his castle here. It's a risky one, but if it goes up, it kills both the towers. Kind of similar to what Barles did in the previous game. So yeah. You don't want to lose these vills. And there goes Barles. I knew he'd do it. I knew he'd do it. That's so good. He has fletching. And with fletching, as I knocked over my freaking cup again, let me put... Okay. Fletching can kill these vills. There's a lot of weak vills in here. And as Vinch is distracted here, Barles might try it again. Barles is going to do it again. Oh, no, he's coming over here. Ooh, that's smart. That is really smart. Near the tower, near the other archers. Vinchester, such a risk. Game 7. Is it worth it? The archer can't hit crap. What was that? The archer still can't hit anything. What is that? Siege workshop here. Houses. What's happening? Castle's going to go down. Or go up, or whatever. God, this is so micro-intensive for Barles. Finally kills a vill. But Vinch has only lost 2. And he's in Castle Age. Scorpion will probably put an end to this. I'd still like Barles to dive. What are the archers going to accomplish? Run through, dude. Run. Move. Go. Go, 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 go. He's through. That's so smart. And I think Vinch has to expect it, man. You got to expect it. Scorpion, though. It was all part of the plan. Oh, Vinch doesn't care. And Vinch will kind of, sort of, be okay somehow. Don't ask me how. Can you imagine the guts on Vinch if he could place a house here and trap these vills? He wants his castle to go up, but he'd love to kill these vills in the process. Archers from Barles still running around. Oh, God, the tower's hitting vills. Vinch has so many weak vills. But it can't range everything. So Barles needs to run. The archer's around here. That guy dies. These archers are still around here. All the weak vills seem to be on farms or on the castle, though. And the castle goes up. And listen, I mean, Vinch lost... How many vills did Vinch lose in the Mayans game? Was it 6? I think it was 6. And he still came back and won with a boom. Gabetto is really solid and micro-oriented style, which is what Vinchester's good at. And, you know, maybe Vinchester is slightly faster to the second TC. I mean, he's cut so many corners here, but maybe a situation where this could be okay for him. What is really nice here for Barles, though, is that he has had a lot of time and he knows what's coming. When you are able to drop TCs immediately with Lithuanians with this eco, your eco can fly. Because you get an additional 100 food for each TC completed, so. Just like what unit do you make against Gabetto? Archer is a good unit to use in Castle Age. Like crossbow is a good decision, but... Oh no, Barles, why are we building a stable out here, pal? The thing is, archers are just not good long-term with the Lithuanians. I actually remember this exact discussion in a Nomad game. I think it was Tato and Hart in Warlords, I believe. And Hart decided not to go crossbow against Gabetto. I understood it, but also, what else are you going to make? Gabetto's a very weak unit in terms of health. 40 HP, but they have 10 attack and they're speedy. So basically, if your micro is perfect, they're very good. If your micro sucks, don't make them. Third TC coming up here for Vinch, as he hopes to harass where he can. But, I mean, Barles is for the most part protected. Barles drops TC number 2. Barles is finishing some walls. Barles still has crossbows coming around. But Vinch is... I don't know how many more Gebettos he's going to make. It seems like he's still focusing on using most of his food for Vils right now, so... And he knows his opponent will be on crossbow. Maybe a good time for Barles to prioritize snagging some relics. If the Gebettos are avoiding your army, snag the relics while you can. I don't know if Knights is ever the best play here against Malians, though. But still, relics just give you gold. So it's like you don't... Just because you get the extra attack on your units doesn't mean you have to go for that type of unit. Relics still have other benefits. Scorpions are here. Lands a pretty big shot there. And the Knight won't accomplish much if the Gebetto were there. And yeah, you could start to see maybe some worry here for Barles. It's like, what do I make? Make any siege, of course. And the Gebettos do enough damage to kill off the siege pretty quickly, too. I mean, Vinch has 6 Gebettos. It's not like he's got a crazy mass. He still could easily lose. Like, no offense, you guys, but like most people watching, it would not be good for the Gebetto player. Right? Even myself. There's no way. But with Vinch, you're just like, well, there's plenty of potential in these units. Still no relics collected. Zebra dies. I'd like to see maybe a Vil come forward for Vinchester. Could consider a forward monastery. Repairing the Scorpions with the villager could be very nice. Pedrusky, thanks for the prime. Thank you, Buttermilch, as well. Thank you, guys. What a semi here. We got a second semi coming up later. My voice is holding up too. Everything's been great. I like the patience from Barles. He says, you know what? I just won't engage. I'm going to wait. But it might be a little too patient at the moment. He's waiting for ballistics. Ooh, that would be a big upgrade. Vinch just really wants Vil picks. Vinch has separated his Gebetto from the Scorpions. And if he tries to meet up, ballistics will pay off. Vinch loses a Gebetto. And the other one's almost dead. Nice army count here from Barles. This is fine for him. The concern I have for him is the eco. 2 TCs versus 3 versus 4. Okay. Yeah, that's a concern. And I'm beginning to think more and more that Vinchester will actually not invest into many more Gebetto, or at least have that be something he relies on long term. Barles has gone for ballistics. He's gone for crossbow. He's gone for knights. He's gone for monks. He's going for his own siege, and he's going for redemption to stop this. He has to respect it. And, you know, the monks are a great tool to take out the Scorpions now. This is where Vinchester's army should no longer be effective. Drewski says, randomly saw a video of yours pop up on YouTube. I don't watch or play AoE, yet here I am, almost a month later of watching countless videos, finally able to tune in. Welcome, that's awesome. I love that. Do you remember which video was the first one you watched, by chance? I'm kind of curious on that. I'm always curious about that. Vinch is a 20 villager lead, but his army is going to start to struggle a little bit. Vinch will know redemption is in now, and he should know ballistics is in. So do you fight to save the Scorpions here and lose your Gebetto? I don't know about that. And this is just as Vinch was thinking about the front of his base and needing to secure that. And now Barles is going to have all that control. And with that control, you can get every single relic on the map with Lithuanians, guys. The reason this game is amazing is because of the pros and cons of every decision. Obviously, the con for Barles is he's behind an eco. But the big pro is map control relics and an army that prevents Vinchester from accomplishing too much right now. Let's see what Drewski said. He says, I'll go dig through my history. If you don't remember, it's fine. You don't have to look for it. I'm just curious. Barles will find the relics pretty fast, right? Because he'll probably just send a bunch of monks different directions. So you could see this one. He's snagging this one. In the north, he's building outposts. Vinch has gone for stables. But this is interesting for Vinch. So he's defending with Gebetto in a tower. Might be enough to force Barles away. Barles giving it a moderate amount of respect. But where Barles is not right now is here. He is there with a crossbow, actually. And oh my god, that guy's the real MVP. It just, can a castle be denied with one crossbow? I don't know, Vinch. Do you really want to do this? Yep. Okay, Vinch does. Vinch doesn't care about you knowing about that. One villager dies. The Gabetto will come clear that. And Vinch is hiding the fact that he has +2 armored knights behind all this. Barles does not see any of it. I think he's about to, though. Maybe flirting with the idea of trying to deny this castle. It's probably going to go up, but Barles would still like to take good engagements. Ballistics is in. If the villagers try and dodge, they'll still die. Monks convert some Gabettos. Knights now come in, though. The crossbows will die. Unless he can get back to monks, the crossbows will die. Nice little army push here from Vinch. And a big moment in the game, right? Because Vinch has more vills. He is not on the way to imp. Barles is. If Barles can win fights, he could drop a castle here and win this game in imp with Trebs. Look at the micro from Vinch there. Runs away from the monks, too. Barles wants a castle. Oh, he's actually castling here. That's fine, in my opinion. I think that's acceptable. You could still use that castle for Trebs and build another castle forward. And Vinch is kind of all in castle age right now. With a much better economy. He actually deletes the knight there. What army is Barles going to have? He's not going to have a lot of army here. Vinch, does he delete the knight again? That's twice he did that. He still loses the knight, but he doesn't give up a knight. Interesting that he's deleting like that. He can tell which one's being converted. And Vinch, maybe realizing now the additional army won't do much for him. He's going to click up. Barles will be an imp in a minute, though. All right, so there's a composition that is needed here. I think Barles will prioritize it, but I'm still not certain. I think you need hand cannon. Hand cannon is a must. With that, bombard cannon's also really strong. Against your hand cannons, the Malians struggle. The Malians don't have the best of skirm, so that's why it's your best unit here. It's like it's great damage output against infantry, which the Gabetto are. But it's also just great damage output against any unit, because it's gunpowder. Okay? But then you got to account for the cav, right? Like, straight cav play from Vinchester could be really dangerous. In theory, you could always go for some monks, but that's tough. You lose your monks, you're dead. I think Halb. I think Halb, hand cannon, siege could be a really good play here for Barles. Vinchester doesn't have vision on these areas yet. But everywhere he moves, he sees outposts from Barles, and Barles sees him. Guys, like, Barles is... The vision he gets from the outpost in the houses, so many more players need to be doing this. It helps you make decisions. And he now should recognize it's going to be mainly Gabetto for Vinch. Vinch is really not stopping production there. And he's going to go camel. I don't like the camel choice. Actually, he might not make too many of them. That's a great fight for Barles, I think. He kills off half the Gabetto. Maintains most of the army here. I have to say, I thought Vinch was going to go Gabetto and also Cavalier here. You always expect chemistry at this level. And hand cannons. It's not a new thing. Barles does have... This is a Game 7 situation if I've ever seen it. 2 ranges, and he's got 20 units queued in 2 ranges. And it's also, like, a heavy mix. I think he misclicked Cav Archers in there. Wow. Okay, so Vinch is going to try and use bombard cannons to deal with the hand cannons. Again, with really good micro, that can work well, actually. And Vinch has a lot of Gabetto. And a lot more vills. And more resources collected. More map control. Vision on the extra golds and stones. More mobility, too. And there's Gabetto. They're not even elite yet. Guys, they're not even elite Gabetto. They shred buildings so quickly. Barles may make a run for this gold. He doesn't actually see a knight as camping that. It's really smart from Vinch. Vinch actually has elite Gabetto in queue right now. but is housed. He is fixing that, but that slows down his production a bit. So it's going to be hand cannon, skirm from Barles. I like the hand cannon. I am curious what he does against the bombard cannons. I guess monks. He already has redemption. He has block printing. So yeah, monks to convert the cannons is the play. Yep. Something he's very good with. He's very, very late with the production. Barles. Like, if he had 5 ranges, he might be close to 200 pop right now. But, man, the bombard cannon, oh, man, just goes down there. That's a waste. I think, though, Vinchester has enough Gabetto to just dive on everything here. There's a castle. There's things to be worried about, but he does not seem to care, and Gabetto still do a lot of damage. The hand cannon attack was distracted by the knights, and Vinchester with an amazing fight. Oh, and Barles is queuing up more units. It's out of 2 ranges, guys. And he's gonna cancel his plans. This in a panic, and he thinks, well, I've got 3 relics. We have to try Latus now. Or actually, I thought he had Elite Latus. Oh, he just completed Elite Latus. Yeah. I don't mind the choice to go Latus when you've got 3 relics. The issue is the lack of other production right now. The skirms do not do too much damage against the Gabetto. Vinchester's eco has been insane, guys. His eco is flying behind this. Beautiful castles in these types of positions. Nice job from Barles to notice that. Take that gold. And Treb for Vinch. He did this before as well, where he always goes out with 1 Treb. I don't like the trickle Trebbing. I think it's wasteful. But he's also killing a Treb with his Gabetto. And he's got so much pressure coming towards Barles right now. There's been quite a few bombard cannons that have gone down for Vinchester, though. And the Gabetto number is much lower than it was just seconds ago. Loses another bombard cannon. We'll snipe another bombard cannon, though. Nice shot from Vinch. It's going to be Farimba Light Cav, so +7 attack on the Light Cav. And Gabetto and bombard cannons from Vinch. And it feels like he's comfortable in this situation. And Latus might ignore armor, and they might do a lot of damage, but they still die very quickly to the Gabetto because of all that Gabetto attack. It's worth it for 3 bombard cannons, though. It's worth it for 3 bombard cannons. Heavy camels in now. A camel and Gabetto is an issue right now for Barles. And I think against this, you'd need double gold comp yourself. I think you would need hand cannons, and I think you would need Latus. I'm not sure if he can afford this. He certainly needs the gold right now. He can't take the gold that's in the middle of the fight. The gold down here, he's going to snag. Vinchester may notice that, though. And Vinchester does not give a crap. Diving underneath the castle, killing those expensive Latus. And Barles is on the brink of being eliminated here. I mean, it's been such a great series. But Vinchester, when he's been able to be greedy, it just has such crazy post-imp play. And he always had faith, in my opinion, that this was going to be the composition or the better civ in the late game because of how he played it. He could have played standard. Malians are great with that. But the fast castle approach was thinking of this, very reminiscent of how he played Mayans. And Barles is like, what else can I make here? What else can I make? I'm going to go Halb now to try against the camels. But it's the perfect 1-2 punch composition. Anything you make against the camels dies to the Gabetto. Anything you make against the Gabetto dies against the camels. Vinchester takes down the castle. That's all he wanted. Guys, skirms don't really do much damage against the Gabetto. It's a weird unit. It's a ranged unit, but it's a ranged melee unit, so they don't take bonus damage like an archer would. I think Barles is just under so much pressure, and so much has gone wrong here that he's just making what he can. And unfortunately for him, this is probably the end of his road in this tournament. Semifinals for Barles is going to be something ultimately he's happy with. But Vinchester looking towards the finals right now. And he's just... It's been interesting, because when I was thinking of Vinch before the series, I was thinking about his aggression. it's actually been his defense and his economy that has really brought him back in a lot of these games. Because the offense, the all-in offense was not enough to break Barles a lot today. Barles has one more last attempt. He's falling back. He's done with throwing away low numbers. So he's trying to group up what he can for one big fight. But it is a problem because the longer he waits, the more control Vinch takes. Vinch takes this gold now. He's got both these golds over here. And it does kind of make Vinch's life easier if you don't engage against him all the time. He can think about what techs he can research, what positions he's not already controlling. This is actually the best fight Barles could have had. Halbs against the camels. And then the Latis are on this side, but Vinch notices it. Vinch takes out the castle. He does lose both of his cannons, but Barles now has very little map control. 110 pop. This castle over here is getting trebbed down by Vinchester. And Gabetto, Camel, Gabetto Lightcalf, and this eco with the Malians just serving Vinchester so well. I hate these moments. I feel bad for the player who's played for 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours, and is lost. Obviously, first game, they probably call it here, but just in case, just in case there's any chance he wants to be certain that with 3 relics, especially near his base, maybe this is over. It is over, though. Vinchester even defends the Treb, and Vinchester moves on to the finals of this crazy SAX tournament. The tournament that so many big names went down. And what a performance from Barles, though. Seriously, Barles played so well. I was concerned for Barles after game 2. I thought, okay, he might not be able to turn this around mentally. Maybe Vinchester's style just counters him. And he brought it right back. This game, I find it very difficult to suggest anything that much different for Barles. I think it's easy to say, well, Barles maybe overinvested into army and castle age. You can say that. But guess what? If he doesn't have redemption and his own siege and like everything that he had, Vinch then takes more map control against him anyways. So maybe Barles needed to be slightly better economically, and then maybe needed to have bigger numbers of gunpowder. We never got above, like, let's see, how many hand cannons did he make this game? Well, it wasn't over 26. I think he needed like 30, 40 hand cannons. That's it. That's the big thing. And he had gunpowder for a time, but then, the pressure just got too crazy there. Well played to Vinchester. And I'm excited to see Vinchester in the finals, man. Like, Vinchester might be the favorite going into that. I think our thinking will shift a little bit once we see the Sebastian Sito series. But everything's shaping up for a really competitive final with Vinchester against either Sito or Sebastian. So, GG, well played to both. And, second semifinal coming up here shortly.